weirdos.
Hi.
Wait, do we even have sound? I don't even... Yeah, we do. It's just far away. Here, put the sound there.
In front of us both.
And maybe your fan's up too high. I don't know.
No, it's not high enough. I'm sweating
Are you
already.
sure?
I swear.
Okay, it's going to be there, all right? A little bit of sweat's good. Like, people like that.
Not on camera.
They like a sweaty host. I did a poll. Anyway, I am Gory Movie.
And I'm Kayla.
And this is the Strange and Unusual Book Club, where we read strange and unusual books.
And then talk to you about it.
Yeah. So this month, what books did we read?
We read 3 books this month. We read The Eyes of the Dragon by Stephen King. We read The Weight of Blood by Tiffany Jackson. And we read Phantasma by Kaylie Smith.
We did indeed. So yeah, a nice range. And it looks like we got Fairpoint Station in the chat.
What's up, homie?
Yeah. Dude, you're so like straight up like thug now. There we go. Now we have a chat thing. This is a well-oiled machine here. I don't know what all the comments on Yelp have been about. Like,
yeah. Where did that 1-star come from?
What the fuck? Everything's great here. And of course, there's Pipkin, our mascot tarantula, that you can't actually see.
God's favorite.
God's favorite boy.
God's favorite boy.
I'm pretty sure it's a boy now. It's hard to tell, okay, guys? Like, it's not like with a hamster where it's kind of obvious.
Just scared me.
I think we broke it.
The light just fell. It's okay.
Oh, no. I think it's probably fine there.
Yeah.
I don't know. We're going to leave it there.
Okay.
We'll see. I don't know. Okay, so I guess we should just start talking about books.
Sure, we could do that. Did you have any cool book news?
Book news. Oh, I feel like I got new books. I did.
Yeah.
No. All right, you got new books, didn't you?
Yeah, I did get new books.
What's
your book show and tell?
I'm not even prepared for life anymore. Okay.
Book show and tell.
This, I think I got.
Oh my God, I'm getting stuck in your window.
Okay. So I got Fate of the Feral Gods, which is the 4th Dungeon Crawler Carl book. And these are pretty awesome because they have like illustrations. But I love that he personalizes the quote on all of them. And I gotta get it out and show you. Cats do not swim. So that's the one on this one. I'm really excited because this weekend we are gonna go to Bremerton. And we're going to go to the Matt Dinniman book signing. And I'm going to get books 5 and 6 there. And Kayla's going too.
I am going to go. I have only read half of a book, but I'm excited. I'm excited for a little getaway.
Me too.
We're going to have a little
we have matching
trip.
earrings now too. Strange and unusual earrings.
They were gifts from Gory.
Yeah.
I found...
Mine was a gift from Danny.
Mine was a gift from you. I have a handful of books here.
Nice.
Okay, numero uno, at Goodwill, I found the Elfstones of Shannara, which is the second in the series of the Sword of Shannara. And I was like, if that's not the universe telling me I need to read more of this series, then I don't know what is. So I grabbed it. And then I was at the other used bookstore here in town, and I found all of these crazy sci-fi novels by this author, Andre Norton, who is a woman. She goes by many pen names, but look at these covers.
That's cool.
Like, isn't that bananas? And they're pretty small. Like, they're all pretty small. Stargate.
Nice.
I don't know this. Look at that.
Whoa.
Right? Moon Called. And Lavender Green Magic.
Ooh.
And there was more, but I didn't get more because I was like, I don't even know if these are any good. But they were just so pretty.
Lavender or green are kind of like colors for our channel.
Yes, they are, aren't they?
I know, right?
Yeah, so this is like, these are sci-fis. Apparently she's like a really big deal in the sci-fi pioneering.
Like Ron Burgundy big?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, she's like,
I'm super happy about that.
Won a bunch of awards and...
Dude, I hope she wins some authors.
She wins some authors. So
like
anyways,
some good ones.
We'll see if they're any good.
I also got, when I went to Seattle Crypticon, I got the hardback edition of Head Like a Hole, which this is one that I read because it was on Kindle Unlimited. So I was like, oh, sweet, that looks cool. I like Nine Inch Nails. It's set in the 90s. And I read a lot of nostalgic 90s books. This is the one that did it right. Yeah. A lot of them, they go for the easy stuff, like Troll Dolls and stuff. This one, I'm like, oh my gosh, I forgot about that. Like, this was a really good one. And on top of that, it's a fantastic body horror. So essentially this girl in modern day, She's living with her kids in suburbia, and this reporter comes, and he's like, I want to talk to you about the incident when you were young, and all of your friends died, and you were the only survivor.
Oh, no.
And I want to find out what the truth of that actually was.
Oh.
And so it's like a creepy body horror thing, really good body horror, really scary. I don't scare easy, but especially the end of this book was really scary. And I got it signed. By, he gave me all these cool bookmarks and stuff too. Thanks, Andrew Van Way. I got it signed by Andrew Van Way. What's up?
I love it.
It's amazing.
That's so cool.
And he and his wife were super, super cool. And so
I like that style of book, that like library binding kind of style. I like that a lot.
Me too. It's really cool.
Yeah. Well, cool. Well, I have a present for you.
What's this?
I found these pens on Amazon. They're paper pens.
They're really thin.
Yeah, that you can like stick in a book, so you can have one or two or three if you want.
And then I could be like, take a look. My pen's in a book.
Reading Rainbow.
I know, right?
That's you.
I know, that's actually my Native American tribal name for the Peoria tribe.
Love it.
True story.
Okay.
Is Adam our only friend who's here today? Like, come on, people.
I think so. You know what? He's the only one that matters.
Yeah.
Don't tell Heather. And don't tell Brandon.
Yeah, where are they at?
Yeah, where are they?
And Mummy B movie?
Where's Mummy? Where's Brother? What's his Brother B movie?
Zigma. Well, whatever. Like, that's fine.
Yeah, whatever.
Quality over quantity is what I always say.
Amen.
So let's start talking about The Eyes of the Dragon.
Okay.
So I think this one came out in 1984, right?
1984. Look, I brought my copy, one of my copies.
Ooh, that's
this
a nice
I
copy.
inherited from my husband's grandmother.
Ooh.
It's very pretty.
And you picked this one, so...
I did pick this one.
Why did you pick this one? Aside from just Stephen King's amazing and we like dragons.
Well, I liked fairy tales so much. And this is one that I'd been thinking of for a while. I just love a fantasy.
And it's weird because there's a lot of his books I haven't read.
Yeah.
And this is one where I actually didn't know what it was about or anything, which is kind of weird. Like, I haven't read Doomonkey, but I know it's about a painting.
Yeah.
So I was kind of surprised, like, how little I actually knew about this book. Nobody talks about it.
No, nobody does. But, like, I loved it. I thought it was really fun. So we'll talk a little bit about, let me get my notes. It takes place in the foreign fantastical land of Delane.
It's so fancy.
Delane.
It's like when people say I'm going to Tarjay. We're going to Delane.
Delane. And it's this land, and it's ruled by King Roland. He is a complex man, kind of.
I like how they said that he wasn't a good king, but he wasn't a bad king.
I actually even highlighted that because I thought it was so beautiful. It says, Roland the Good was neither the best nor the worst king ever to rule the land. He tried very hard not to do anyone great evil and mostly succeeded. He also tried very hard to do great works, but unfortunately he didn't succeed so well at that. The result was a very mediocre king. He doubted if he would be remembered long after he was dead.
And I think that's important because we have so many books, like, and even movies and such. I know Snow White, people talk a lot about how she's like, my father this, my father that. A lot of these books, like, their father is a great king, and then they're great, and it, I think it's even harder for somebody who's like a prince and they're destined to become king when, their father was just, like, mediocre. They did their job.
Yeah. I think that that's a big part of this book and, like, what it means to be good.
And that it's not easy, and it's not just like a lot of books, especially fantasy books, treat good like it's the default, and good is something that needs to be achieved.
Yeah, absolutely. And being evil, like truly evil, versus like you're just
takes work.
Yeah, it does take a lot of work. You have to be very ambitious to be evil. So King Roland, he's ruling this land, and he's kind of I would consider him to be almost asexual. He just has other priorities.
I mean, I think they said at one point that he's gay.
Did they say that?
I was pretty sure that they said that he was gay, but because of, in their world, that's not acceptable.
Right.
He needs to have an heir, so he never got a chance to explore that.
No, but he has to find a bride so that he can get an heir. And he has at his right hand his wizard named Flag.
It is Flag from The Stand.
Is he from The Stand?
Yeah. So, yeah, you haven't read The Stand.
No.
Flag is the primary antagonist in The Stand. And so this is cool because he's also the primary antagonist in this. And
he's
a lot of the same thing. It's kind of cool because he's timeless.
Yeah.
And so he's like a guy in like a denim jacket. They call him the walking dude.
Oh.
And he comes into people's nightmares. And so in The Stand, the world, after a plague kills like 99.6% of the world, people have dreams of either Mother Abigail saying, come on down here, I've got a place for you. Those are the good people. Or you have dreams of Flag, where he's saying, come to Vegas. Ew. And it's setting up this ultimate battle between good and evil. And the book's amazing.
Crazy. Well, that's cool. Because, yeah, he's a piece of shit. So he's, like, whispering in the king's ear the whole time. But Roland ends up taking a wife in this young woman. She's just a common woman, but her name is Sasha. And she's, like, the greatest thing. She's perfect in every way. But to produce an heir, he has to take a potion to be intimate with her. Flag makes him up a potion to get in the mood. And so he goes on this hunt. He finds this dragon, right? Like, it's like this big deal. It's really hard to find a dragon. The dragon is like a baby, right?
I know. Like, what a douche.
But
and he just wants it for a trophy.
Yes.
But here's the thing, and this is where it, thank you for, Adam, for the happy birthday. Nice. Here's the thing where the title comes in. So he, like, wait, not her birthday.
Wait, not my birthday, thank you.
They mount the head after it's taken apart, and they put glass eyes in it. Mm-hmm. So Flag sets up a thing behind the wall to where he can look through the eyes of the dragon. Roll credits. Mm-hmm. So, and he could spy on the king. Yes. Now, here's something very interesting. So, a little behind the scenes about this. Stephen King has 3 children. Joe Hill, who is now a prominent author. His middle child is Naomi, who she is the, I can't remember exactly what it's called in her religion, but like a vicar or like the head priest of like a Christian church that is LGBT plus positive.
Awesome.
And I am glad that there's a gay character in this because she is a lesbian. And his youngest son is Owen, who is also an author. So, like The Shining, all his kids have books, but Naomi, this one's dedicated to her. Mm-hmm. But he also wanted something that she could read because she was getting old enough to where she could read. Yeah. So he wanted this to be like a middle grade book. Now I got some issues with that.
I also have some issues with that.
Because I don't think this is really appropriate. I do like that it's told in a very storyteller way. You kind of feel like Stephen King sitting there beside your bed and telling you the story, and that it works really well. And I do think it is very good. I do not think, even though it's supposed to be a middle grade novel, like that's a middle school kid, I would not recommend this to a middle school kid. I would say this is good for a high schooler.
Yeah, like 16.
Yeah. I'm going to tell you why. One, we have rape in this book, which is not good.
A little bit.
A little bit of rape in the book. We have pretty extreme things, like the king will get really drunk and run around naked and scream and stuff. You know, they talk in depth about sex. I think one of my favorite things is the bride he takes, the king, she's never had sex. She's never seen a man naked, so she's like, what's that? And he's having a hard time performing because he's not into women. He has to take a special potion. Yeah. And he's all like, it's king's steel. Yes. And you have to put it into the forge. And we're just like, Ew, it's disgusting. Ew. We're so grossed out.
But the only night that he doesn't have to take a potion is the night that he kills that dragon, and that's the night that their first son, Peter, is conceived, without the help of any magic. I felt like that was important.
Yeah. And he does love her.
Yes, he
does. Like, he loves her, you know, even though he's not, like, romantically in love with her, he does love her. He values her. And Flag starts to see her as a threat because now she's in his ear. He really trusts her opinion. And what's more is she's very instrumental in Peter's upbringing. Yes. So originally this book was called Napkins. And napkins are a big part of this. I think napkins would have been a stupid title, and I'm glad they changed it. But it starts with when Peter's very little, you know, the king, like, he's gross. He'll eat chicken legs or whatever, throw them on the ground. They burp. They're nasty. They have no table manners. And so Peter's doing that. And then she's like, I thought you did a good job, but I do want to note you did not use your napkin. He's like, well, nobody else uses their napkin. She's like, yes. but you, being a prince, need to set a good example. So she basically says, you didn't do anything wrong, but you could do better.
Yeah. She gives him this whole speech about when you're the king, whatever the king does is right. Doesn't mean that it's good. It doesn't mean that it's bad. But it's right. Like, just because he has the power.
So she has this whole thing where she basically says it's like dogs. So it says, most bad people are more like dogs than devils. Dogs are friendly but stupid, and that's the way most men and women are when they get drunk. When dogs are excited and confused, they might bite. When men are excited and confused, they might fight. Dogs are great pets because they are loyal. But if a pet is all a man is, he is bad. So she's trying to show him that basically they're kind of acting like dogs.
Yeah.
And it's not necessarily means they're evil or bad. It just means they don't know any better. But if he wants to be a good man, he needs to be better than a dog. And
a good king, if he wants to be a good king for his people. So then, she instills a lot in Peter, and one of the things that she has is this dollhouse. And there's this whole situation where Peter likes to play with the dollhouse. A feral called Napkin?
I'm assuming it's a feral cat.
Cat? Okay. What was I saying? Oh, the dollhouse.
Yes.
So Peter's playing with the dollhouse, and Flag is like, do you really want your son playing with a dollhouse? Like, what does that say about you? What does that say about him? And it really bothers Roland. Like, he thinks about it for a really long time, and he's like, do I care about my son playing with this dollhouse? And it ends up, like, he ends up saying, like, yeah, you, like, this is good, because he sees him, like, playing with it in this way where he's, like, acting out, like, being a ruler, being a king, and, like, how he's going to rule his people. Like, he's not, I mean, you can play with a dollhouse however you want, but just, it was, like, a beautiful thing that he saw his son doing.
It's kind of like a metaphor, because eventually the kingdom will be his dollhouse.
Yes.
And it's how he takes care of it. And, you know, if he's rough with the dollhouse, it shows the kind of king he's going to be.
Yes.
But Flag's more kind of like saying it's going to make him like more feminine or something. And I do like that this book really challenges gender norms, which was really advanced for 1984. And I think that it's saying like, you know, hey, a little boy could enjoy a dollhouse. And this dollhouse is extra special because everything works in it. It has a little fire. It has a stove. It has a little spinning wheel, which becomes very important.
Loom.
A little loom.
I think I have a picture of, well, I don't want to spoil anything.
There are illustrations too in the book.
Yeah, the book has illustrations, and they're cool. They're fun.
It seems like we're telling you a lot. This is all like in the first few chapters.
Yes, this all happens immediately.
And not too long afterwards, in like the same way as Peter was conceived in a good way, he has a younger brother that's conceived in a bad way. Flag gives the king this potion that makes him really, really aggressive.
It's like a double dose of the potion he normally gets.
Yeah.
And he gets violent with Sasha.
And he basically R-words her, and she's really upset. And then they have their youngest son, and that son's not handsome like his older brother. He's just kind of he's kind of off. And his dad, the king, Roland, obviously favors Peter. And it's really sad because they say that like the little guy's not, I can't remember his name. He's Thomas. He's not a bad boy.
No.
But he doesn't have this like this sense of right and wrong that his older brother has. And I think that's what Roland is responding to.
I have a quote here. It says, Thomas also, when he's born, his mom dies. Like,
she dies in childbirth.
And it's
an accident.
It's definitely intentional. But he doesn't get any of her influence either. So
that's the thing. He never met his mom.
But it says, Thomas was not exactly a good boy, but you must not think him a bad boy. He was sometimes a sad boy, often a confused boy. He took after his father in another way as well. Hard thinking made his nose stuffy, and his head feel like boulders were rolling around inside. And often a jealous boy, but he wasn't a bad boy. And Thomas he's a really complex character. Like, he's got a lot going on, and I felt so heartbroken for him throughout this whole story.
I felt really bad for him, too, because I don't think a lot of these stories, like, you're born into it, but I don't think being a great king is something that you are just born into. I feel like it's something that you have to learn. I mean, look at other great kings and stuff, you know, like Lord of the Rings. There's a big difference between people who just inherit that role and people who are destined for the role.
Yes.
And, you know, like Game of Thrones and stuff has a lot of other great examples. And so this kid is just like, he's just like his dad. He's just not destined for that. He doesn't have that moral compass that makes a great ruler. And that's the other thing, too, is they've never lived poor. They don't know what that's like. So how can they be sympathetic and understanding? And I think Sasha really helped Peter to understand that and to be gracious. And he's kind to animals and such.
Not take advantage of anything and like really take everything for what it is and be grateful.
Yeah, and she was more of like a person of the people. She wasn't like always raised super rich or anything. No. So he has that advantage. Whereas, you know, Thomas, he doesn't have that. And then Flag kind of takes him under his wing, and so he thinks of Flag as a friend. And Flag shows him where to spy on his father, you know, and he gets really scared when you see your father ranting and raving and being naked and stuff. It's scary, but he still can't help but look. And he is jealous of his brother, but he also loves his brother very much. So, and just kind of the inciting incident here, it feels like I'm telling you a whole story.
But it all happens so quickly.
It really does. But the inciting incident is essentially Flag has decided that he needs to get rid of, he basically wants to make Thomas the king because he has complete control over Thomas. Thomas is 12 years old. Yes. So, yeah, he's very malleable. But if he's king, it doesn't matter that he's 12 years old. So what he does, again, it sounds like I'm giving a big spoiler here. I'm not. He frames Peter for the murder of his father. So and I won't go into the whole plan because I think that's kind of fun. But he frames Peter for the murder of his father. And then Peter is sent away into this really tall, like Rapunzel-like tower.
It's called the Needle.
Yes. It's super tall and it's cold up there. And then it becomes, and then Thomas becomes king. And then the book is it kind of slows down a bit. But it does jump time a little bit too. And it shows, and it's really sad too because he not just controls Thomas, like, by manipulating his emotions, he also makes him an alcoholic at 12. At 12. So he starts supplying him with wine all the time. And what's more, Thomas did see what happened. So he knows Flag killed his father. He knows Peter didn't have anything to do with it. But he's also afraid of Flag. And he's confused.
A little bit guilty.
Jealous. He has a lot of conflicting emotions. And he doesn't really know what to do or what would happen if he did anything.
Yeah. Yeah, he's, it's rough. So I wrote, there's obviously a lot more that happens after that, but I wrote a couple notes that, like, it's kind of about, like, nature versus nurture is, like, a really big theme, I feel like where did, like, and how both come into play, because they both, like, both of those things were important for both of the boys and their differences. Well,
and kind of going back to that dog metaphor too, it's about how we're not instinctively born good.
No.
We're born with instincts to eat. We need food, we need air, we need shelter, but we don't necessarily need to be good or need to be bad. That's something that we're taught.
Yes. And as a person, we each have individual needs, like the way that you show love or appreciation. Like, those are different things that happen, but you still have to work to be good.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I feel like it's something that you have to learn. And so Thomas is not bad because he just simply didn't learn that. He didn't have the opportunity to learn that. There's nobody there to teach him that. And so it's not just like you can be born good. Yeah. You know, this book is essentially saying you can't be. Yeah. And it is up to the people who have learned to be good to kind of take care of those that maybe aren't. You know, somebody who's evil, they've worked to be evil, so they don't count. But somebody who's kind of in the middle, somebody like Roland or Thomas, these people are vulnerable and they can be shifted by somebody who's evil or good.
And Peter also kind of had a leg up because he got the teachings from his mother that Thomas didn't get. Right? So there's that factor too. So there's a little bit of anyways, I don't know where I was going to go with that. But anyway, I wrote that, and
Thomas is Baron Trump. Basically. Yeah. So, I mean, that's the kind of thing. Like, you know, you look at somebody who's raised in, like, the White House and stuff, and they have the same upbringing as many other children who've raised in the White House, but a lot of them have turned out differently. And I think it comes down to what values they're being taught by the people who are raising them, whether that be their caretakers or their parents. But it's not something that is just inherently known.
Yeah. You have to work for it. So yeah, in general, I mean, what else do we want to say? Oh, no,
I want to talk about the audiobook. The audiobook is read by Bronson Pinchot, and he does a fantastic job. Like when he's flagged, he really does give you chills.
I was so scared at the end when he's like screaming.
Yeah, he lets it all out, which is really scary.
It was very scary. I was like, this is too scary.
And as far as a lot of the book, you know, is I think I liked the beginning the most, but a lot of the book from Peter's point of view is very kind of reminded me of like, yes, he was in Langoliers. It reminded me of like Count of Monte Cristo, where it's like his plan's stupid. I'm sorry, Peter, but boy, your plan's dumb.
It is dumb, but it's important. Like, there's obviously like it all kind of like weaves together, like the loom. But it is dumb.
He has a very long-standing plan. Like, I was kind of hoping his plan would be something like Shawshank Redemption. Like, okay, that's going to take you a while, but that'll work. I'm from the very beginning, I'm like, Peter, honey, no, dog. That's not how gravity works.
I was going to say how physics
That's not how physics work, my sweet boy. And I do like that the book acknowledges that, and, you know, he's going to have an uphill battle, and I won't spoil any of that for you. There are also a lot of people who love Peter and believe in his innocence, despite him being convicted.
Yes.
So he has friends and such. And one of the friends, towards the end there, you have people who are actively working to try and get messages to Peter and help Peter maybe escape.
Yeah.
And there is a character in there that is named Naomi after his daughter. And she has a dog named Frisky. I did like this, but I will say that the chapters with Frisky and Naomi didn't really advance the plot a whole lot. Like, I had to stop and go, okay, where exactly are they? Why is it taking so many chapters for them to get to their destination, which is supposed to be in the same town? Like, did I miss something? I went back and read it, and I'm like, nah, dog. I think he, you know, and that is one of the problems I would say, like, when people base characters on people and stuff, or even name, you feel like an obligation to people, and I feel like he kind of stretched these out a lot because he knew they would make his daughter happy, but in the book, I think they should have been like one chapter, to be honest.
She was a cool character. She was really tough.
Or give her more to do.
Yeah.
Put a side quest in there.
Yeah.
But she don't have a lot to do.
On that note, so Thomas's butler, Dennis, I thought was a really interesting character too.
Yeah.
He's his butler. He is actually the one who he's kind of like in on, he's not really in, like unintentionally in on the framing of Peter. But he's very loyal to Thomas.
I wouldn't say the framing because he's not aware. He thinks he's doing the right thing. He's involved in the conviction of Peter.
There you go. That's a better way to put it. But he's a really complex character in that he's like very loyal. He's very much a rule follower. And just his whole arc, I was like really pissed at him, but like I understood why he made the decisions that he made, if that makes any sense. I liked it. I liked a character that I feel
like this book, another theme of this book is essentially not to act on emotion. Because, like, one of the things that convicts Peter, like, with the person who's in charge of determining his fate, is the fact that Peter's crying. Yeah. And he's like, well, that looks pretty sus. Yeah. And so it seems like in this book, whenever somebody has large emotions, big emotions, it's generally looked down upon. And the characters that succeed are the ones who are able to kind of push that stuff aside and think logically. So, not saying that I believe that. I'm just saying that the book is kind of saying that that's something that you need to do in order to maybe see the situation clearly.
Like if you're going to be a king or something, maybe you should see your emotions with a little aside, even keel. Yeah. Yeah. It's it's
exactly.
It is hard, and Peter's only 17 initially when all of this happens.
You just quoted Winger, and I'm here for it.
Did I?
He's only 17. Okay. 17.
Yeah. So I think one complaint that I see about this book is that the characters are underdeveloped, but they are complex.
I think they are complex. I wouldn't say the characters are underdeveloped. I do think some of them need more to do. You only have one. The female characters in this they have limited things to do. Yes. And I understand it's 1984, and it's still light years ahead of, I've read some other books he wrote, like in the 70s, like Salem's Lot, like, oh, honey, Sue, she had nothing to do. Yeah. You know, and I get that. You know, he's a guy. He needs to write what he knows.
Yeah.
But especially because it's dedicated to his daughter, I wish the women had a little more to do. I think it's not so much the characters are underdeveloped, because I think they're as developed as a lot of fantasy characters are. I think more could have been done with the plot, because it's pretty simple.
It is very simple.
This is a fantasy world where you can do anything. You have dragons, and I wanted more dragons and such. There's a dragon in the beginning. Yeah. That is it.
There's not a lot of dragons.
So the world could have been bigger, more fantastical things could have happened. You've got Flag, who, I mean, he's like more powerful than like the devil.
Yeah.
So
it's this tiny little glimpse into this world, you don't get a lot of the world, but I do feel like it's more of like a fable than anything.
I agree with that. Yeah.
Yeah, like he's not trying to be Brandon Sanderson or Tolkien. He's trying to tell a very specific kind of story.
I get that. I think just what may turn people off is like there's just a lot of stuff about fucking napkins, and like you made your own playing table, and I feel like he kind of restricted himself a lot. And I understand this is also, and you know, critically this book did very well. It was not popular with people. This was his first non-horror book he read though. He wrote though, like coming off of like his big hits in the 80s. So nobody really was aware that he had other things he could write. And so I think maybe that's why he toned it down a bit. But it wasn't embraced wholeheartedly. Then again, when you look at things he's done outside, you know, later on he did like Shawshank Redemption, which it's widely, the movie especially, is beloved. He's done Stand By Me. He's done a lot of other things that I think were more accepted.
I mean, Fairy Tale was one of my favorite books.
Yeah, that one's more recent, but he's done other things. But I feel like, yeah, maybe with this one, if you're gonna go fantasy, go full fantasy, because it's more just kind of almost medievalish. There's not a lot of fantastical things in it.
There's some magic. It's mostly Flag, though.
Yeah.
It's all him. He's the most fantastical thing.
Yeah.
And he sucks.
He does suck.
God, he's the worst.
He's the worst.
So, yeah, I really enjoyed this book. I gave it 5 stars.
That's a lot of stars.
No.
Oh, wait. Oh, my gosh. We didn't even go to our library. We've just been sitting here like dorks. Hey, Cheetah.
Hi, Cheetah.
I think a cheetah dragon would be pretty cool. I do indeed. That's my buddy Patrick.
Oh.
Have cheetah well view. So, ratings, huh?
Yeah.
I made this whole thing here. You want to see?
Yeah.
So so we're gonna do thumbs ups, and then you're giving it 5 stars, huh?
Yeah, I give it 5 stars.
Look at all those stars you're giving it. That's like a lot of stars, dude.
Stars.
I give it 3 stars.
Well,
okay. So here's a few things to keep in mind. Kayla and I are different people.
We're very different people.
And I am not a fantasy type of gal. It's something I'm trying to get more involved in, but generally a lot of fantasy stuff is just not going to hit as hard for me. I did really like Fairy Tale. But I think my favorite fantasy ones are the ones where there are really compelling characters. I mean, honestly, if he had done more magic and stuff, I probably wouldn't have made me like it anymore. I did like the characters, but I wasn't super invested in them. Like, I didn't really care if anyone died or anything. For me, it was kind of hard to get through when we got to the stuff with Naomi and the dog. I'm just like, this is a whole lot of nothing's happening. But I did really enjoy it. I liked the audiobook, and I did end up reading a lot of it, too. I liked the illustrations and stuff. But yeah, for me, it was just fine. I would never reread this or anything. I know that there's been talks of making this into a TV show, and
I would like that.
I mean, bless your heart, whoever's doing that. But I feel like it's just because it's Stephen King's name. I don't think it's the most exciting story.
No, I don't think so either. But I liked this book, and it was so easy to read. I do think I will reread it at some point. It was kind of a breeze. So
I almost kind of feel like it's the kind of story that you would hear in another story where they tell you the fable
Absolutely.
I think it could have honestly been a lot shorter. You could have cut a lot out of this. Like a novella.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that. But I think that's why I liked it.
So, yeah. I liked it. It's perfectly fine. So from somebody who's more of a horror gal, I'm going to say it's perfectly fine. If you want to be a Stephen King completionist, this is not one I would skip. I recommend it. I liked it. I don't really have any major complaints with it.
Major complaints.
I liked Fairy Tale more.
But But it was a more fleshed out story.
And that's the thing, like, if you read this and you're like, yeah, I wish there was more, like, fleshed out characters, I do think Fairy Tale's the book you need to read.
Yeah.
There's just a lot more magic, there's a lot better characters and such, but this, and I also don't, I look at what people are setting out to do, and I use that in my ratings too. He wrote that he set this out to be a middle grade novel, and I don't think that it is a good middle grade novel. I would not recommend this to the same people I'd recommend like Harry Potter to.
If things were different in the beginning of the book, like certain things did not transpire, I would say sure, let your 13 or 14-year-old read it. But
we got old man dong waggling.
Yeah, me too.
Like, when I was reading that, I was like,
how old was his daughter?
He was doing so much coke right now. I don't think he realized he wrote that. I think she was 9 when he wrote this.
I would never let my 9-year-old read that.
Yeah, so a lot of the stuff in here, some of it, I think the stuff like Sin the King's Gay and stuff, I actually think that's pretty good. And I think young people should be exposed to lots of different kinds of people. It's more just the drunk nudity and stuff. I think that can be kind of scary. There's R wording. I don't think that's appropriate in a middle grade novel. So I definitely that factors into it for me, because even though like Harry Potter towards the end of it, you're like, okay, this isn't really middle grade anymore. But I think the Harry Potter books age with the kids. By the time you're done there, they're young adults. They're not little kids anymore. The first book's pretty innocent. And even then, even if it was just like violence and stuff, I still would say it would work as maybe like a young adult. But there's some heavy stuff in here that felt tonally out of place for what he was going for. I don't think he needed to have that stuff in there. Or he could have just gone harder and then just been like, it's an adult book. What's up?
Yeah, it'll be for my daughter when she's a grown up.
Yes. Yeah. So that could have been fine too.
I see what you're saying. I respect that.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
So again, not a knock on it. The writing is amazing. I love the colloquial way that he writes. Like, I do feel like he's sitting there by my bed telling me the story, and I think that makes the audiobook all more better, because freaking Balky from Perfect Strangers is reading it to you, and he's fantastic.
Yeah.
So there's no major complaints. If you're a fantasy person, especially if you're into something that's more just straight up like medieval stories, I think you're going to be into this. Like knights and squires and things
taxes
like that.
And
taxes. Like, wow, you just...
There's
only accountants are like, ooh, taxes?
Well, listen, it's important. They tax them to like 80% or something like that.
Taxes.
Something crazy. Yeah. Anyways. So yeah.
Danny Nightmare would be a good dragon rider of Perth. I am reading David Balducci's Atlee Pine series. I haven't heard of that.
I've heard of David Balducci, but...
Oh, hey, Danny's here. Really good at the Panzer Dragon Sega games. Oh. I have no idea what they're talking about.
I don't either. Panzer Dragoon? That sounds like your expletives that you say.
I don't say any expletives. I am a classy broad, and I will not have you disparaging my name.
Sorry to out you like that.
Yeah, that's really messed up, Kayla. I don't really appreciate your ruse.
So yeah, there's that.
So, 5 stars from Kayla, 3 stars from me. I think that's a solid 4 between the two of us.
I think we should clarify, and the people probably know, the people being Adam and your husband. Hey, Gory has a very different rubric.
Are you outing me again?
No, this is important.
Oh,
For our rating system, right? Like, I'm mostly going off of vibes. Did I like it? Did I not? Was I angry?
That's true.
Was I not? Like, it's very just like my gut and my heart telling me what to give it. Where Gory has a system, there's a lot of things that factor into it. You are a literature professional, so you're looking at these things with a more scrutiny, like more of a scrutinous eyeball.
I try to be as fair as possible. So there are things in there like my personal enjoyment of the book that's just subjective. Yeah. But I also look at like the writing style. I look at like what they were trying to achieve, like who's it marketed towards. Things like that. And how successful I think it was. If I was bored at all, I mean, that's a very subjective thing. Yeah. But I use these things to try to be a little more varied, especially when I'm outside of my wheelhouse. Yeah. I think I kind of need that. I have like a spreadsheet that helps me. And likewise, I mean, sometimes I do, like, and the way my rubric works, if I really like something, even if it's garbage, it can get a 5-star. I gave Twilight a 5-star. Fight me. I really enjoy it. It has rereadable value.
Well, it's
Do
art.
I think it's a literary masterpiece?
Right.
No. But, I mean, it's a mix of being subjective and also trying to be fair.
Yes.
So that way, when I just don't enjoy something, I wouldn't be like, well, 2 stars because I wasn't that into it.
Yeah.
So.
Which is how I do my reading. So we're coming from like just two different perspectives. I don't have a literature degree. I'm just an amateur reader. You're a professional reader.
But I mean, like, I just read Strange Pictures, which everyone loves, and I gave that 2 stars because it was just kind of, I had a hard time getting through it.
Yeah.
This was enjoyable. For me, a 3-star is, it's a decent read.
Yeah.
You know, it didn't blow my hair back, but it was decent. All right.
All right. Let's talk
Are we ready to talk about another book?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. So, keeping in our Stephen King theme, because that one was written by Stephen King.
Yeah.
This one is a retelling of a Stephen King book, which honestly, I do not think there has been any other retellings.
No, there's just 3 movies.
I mean, as far as like any of his, as much as.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
I would say, like, if you. I think we're really lucky, first, so I'll say that, because we live in a time where Stephen King is alive. Especially after he passes away in the future, he will be like Edgar Allan Poe, H.P. Lovecraft. He is massively successful. Everybody knows who he is. He is going to be one of the greatest writers of all time, if he isn't already. And I think he already is, but there is pushback from people who, because he writes horror, try to diminish his accolades or try to be like, oh, he shouldn't be up for this award. And there's a lot of naysayers, you know, even when it comes to his movies, like, oh, I don't really like horror. But then they're like, well, do you like the Shawshank Redemption? Yeah. I love it. Yeah, it was written by him. So a lot of people are, sometimes there are people who can be dismissive of him and think that he's just one thing. But
we
no.
should clear our reviews for this one.
So, but yeah, I think he is the greatest writer of my lifetime. And we're really fortunate that he's here, which makes it interesting to me, because when you look at people like Edgar Allan Poe, H.P. Lovecraft, there's so many retellings of their work, and people have really dove into those worlds and found other ways and to tell stories, and we haven't seen that with Stephen King. And so this is just a taste of that. The Weight of Blood is a retelling of Stephen King's Carrie, which is on my shirt here. Look,
Love
it's
it.
Carrie.
Love it.
It's a retelling of Stephen King's Carrie, and I do think 50 years from now, there's going to be more. A lot more.
I agree with that 100%.
Especially because I think some of his stories, unfortunately, maybe they don't speak to everybody, or they are really outdated. So I read Salem's Lot last year for the first time. I know it's a lot of people's favorite. I did not like it. It's extremely outdated. It's like you have to ask the girl's parents to go out with her. The girl has nothing to do but be absolutely perfect and beautiful, and then get turned into a vampire, and then she's the incentive for the hero to do the good thing. Meanwhile, we have 6 middle-aged white guys. You can't keep them straight, dude. Like, can we mix this up a little? We got little kid.
Yeah.
Like, they're all very much the same kind of middle-aged white guy. And I understand it's a small town. I live in a small town too that doesn't have a lot of diversity, and I do think you should write what you know. If you did not grow up in a very diverse environment, however, women are half the population. I refuse to believe you didn't know any women, or you couldn't have made any of these characters women, or you couldn't make the female characters more interesting. He's raised by a single mom. Yeah. Stephen King, early works, could use some more interesting female characters.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, I haven't read a lot of, I've read like, I don't know, a couple handfuls of Stephen King books, but yeah, I agree with that. It's a limited area, but Carrie, is Carrie a book?
Carrie was a book. It's actually his first novel. Okay. So a little background on that. That actually came as a challenge from somebody who's like, I don't think you can write women. And he's like, challenge fucking accepted. So he based Carrie, he was an English school teacher, based on 2 different girls that were in the school that he taught. One was the daughter of a very religious woman. The other one was just horribly bullied. And that's who Carrie was based on. And he got through writing just a few chapters, and he's like, you know what? She's right. This is garbage. And he threw it away. His wife dug it out of the trash, Tabitha. And she's like, but this is really good. You need to keep going with this. Carrie is a lot different than the movies. It's very, it's a lot in the think it's called expository. It's newspaper articles. It's
This is kind of written like that.
This one is too. It's court. It's a lot of court stuff, which I'm surprised. I know we're getting a Mike Flanagan Carrie TV series, and I think they're going to finally give us that. Because a lot of this is a court hearing where they're talking to Sue, who's one of the only people who survived the Black Prom. And which wasn't just a Black Prom. Like most of the town was lit on fire.
Yeah.
And trying to figure out exactly what happened and who was to blame. So it's interesting, but I will say the problem with Carrie is the characters are not super fleshed out. Now, I do think Carrie is a wonderful character, and you definitely root for her. And she's interesting, but, like, you know, her mom isn't super fleshed out. Sue is just a really sweet girl. She bullies Carrie in the beginning, and then she feels guilty, a lot like in the movie. And so she's like, I'm going to set her up with my boyfriend to go to the prom. But she's completely selfless. There's not a lot of layers to that, whereas the mean girl, she's just mean. And what I think we get in The Weight of Blood, before we even get into any of the things that are changed for the retelling, is you have really good characters.
Yeah, they're really complicated, and they have, like, you can see why they behave the way that they do, even if you don't agree with it.
I'm sorry, Patrick. I don't think he's in this room. There's 2 dogs in here and tarantulas, though. And one of my tarantulas is orange and black.
It's close enough. It's pretty close. Do you have any, like, other little kitty cats? There's a pony.
No. There's this cat. It's black cat, though. He won't like it.
Oh, sorry.
We're failing today.
Oh, man.
So,
okay.
Essentially, it is a retelling of Carrie, but it is in modern day.
Yeah.
And there's some things about this book that I think are really, really, really important. So it's set in modern day, and it's basically, the biggest difference in this is Carrie is black. But it's not just like, I really find it irritating in anything when you take a character, you can't just change someone's race. That changes everything. Your ethnicity is a big part of who you are. And so a lot of times when, you know, back in the 90s, they wanted to make Blade white. Like, you can't do that. His ethnicity is intrinsic to who he is. You can't make Black Panther white.
Yeah.
Like, you can't do that. And likewise, you can't just take a character like Carrie and make her black without changing who she is. And what I like about this book is she does the work. Tiffany D. Jackson does the work. And it is a big part of who she is. And I keep thinking, it's modern day. Like, how big of a deal can this be? They're in the South.
It's Springville, Georgia. It's a fake place, but Springville, Georgia is the name of the town.
And they have a segregated prom, and I was like, oh, bullshit, let me go figure. No, this is a common thing, and that alone, I'm grateful to this book for opening my eyes.
It's disgusting.
That's disgusting.
Yeah.
They have a segregated prom, so there's a black kids prom and a white kids prom. That blows my mind. So they can get away with that, even though there's laws against segregation, because it's like a private event thing. They can get away with that.
Yeah, the school doesn't host the prom.
That's fucked up.
Yeah.
So I like that because it is eye-opening, and so it's already doing the work of, like, bringing something new to this retelling. Our main character in this is not named Carrie, but she is the Carrie character, is Maddie. So Maddie does have a very religious father, and she's very kind of sheltered. Yes. Unlike Carrie, she's not just bullied just for being weird. Because she's not as weird. Carrie in the book, she has very bad skin. She's overweight. She gets picked on just for being Carrie. Maddie, people think she's weird because she's quiet and her dad's very, very religious. But beyond that, not a lot of people, like, she's more just the wallflower that nobody fucking notices.
She's kind of invisible.
Yes.
And that's what her dad wants, is for her to be invisible.
And she's gotten really good at that, to just hide. And the reason why her dad wants that, her father is white. But Maddie has a black mother, so she's mixed. And he makes her pass as white. He puts pictures all over her vanity of what he considers to be beautiful white women with, like, a very 50s aesthetic. That is one thing she gets teased for, is her dad likes all these old movies and stuff, so she has, like, poodle skirts and stuff, and people are just like, girl, you're weird.
And she, like, wears his mom's clothes.
Yeah.
Like, she doesn't have her own young wardrobe. She wears like poodle skirts and stuff. So, but he makes her wear sunscreen religiously. She can't go to school when there's any chance of rain.
Yeah, she has to call in. She's like I mean, honestly, if I went to school with her, I'd be like, you're a vampire.
Yeah.
You're not.
1,000%.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I guess it's the opposite, because Cullen's Cullen when it's a sunny day.
Mm-hmm.
So she's not a vampire.
But she does have to protect her skin from the sun.
She does have to.
Mm-hmm.
And she's very mousy, too. She doesn't stand up for herself. And in the beginning, sort of like the bathroom scene, which I do like that is included. They mentioned it in like a flashback that she did get her period and she did think she was dying, but it didn't happen like at school. So she is forced to run in the rain, and her hair like just grows, and they basically describe it as being like a big fro. So she looks like she has clearly like black girl hair,
textured hair.
Yeah. So then, to make it worse, she's already embarrassed and stuff, and she knows she's going to hear about it from her dad. And the biggest reason why they are teasing her, you know, it's the black kids, because there's a black kid named Kendrick who is popular. It's because they're upset that she hid it, but it wasn't her decision. She was raised that way. And then the popular kids just start throwing pencils and stuff in her hair.
Yep. And it gets videoed.
So because, you know, there are people, it's just like, you know, modern day when you're bullying somebody, it gets videoed and stuff. And so it starts this thing where Maddie, I think, probably would have been happy to just let it the fuck go. She just wants to, you know, she gets punished and stuff when she gets home. She would have been happy just to let it go, but Jules is upset that this video gets a lot of attention. And so, you know how there's people who recognize they've done something wrong and then they apologize? And then there are people who realize that admitting it, like, they don't, it reflects their character, so they double down.
Yes.
Jules doubles down, like, all the way.
She
sucks ass.
She really, really does. So Jules has this, like, righteous thing where, like, she doesn't want the rest of the world to see them as racist because of what they did to her. In her mind, she's like, I'm not being racist. This is just what we do. I was just making fun of her. It has nothing to do with her being black.
And they have a friend in their group, Kendrick, who the Sue Snell character is named Wendy in this. It's her boyfriend. So they're like, look, we have a black friend.
Yeah.
But I like that this book is not, it doesn't make things simple. I wanted to say black or white, but it doesn't make things simple.
Yeah.
All the characters are complicated. And at first, Kendrick is like, no, my friends aren't racist.
Yeah.
You know, we all hang out. And then his sister, who is more like, she hates that they're segregated proms and she's protesting that.
She started a club.
Yeah. And meanwhile, his dad is just like, you know, you just need to get through school. You got a football scholarship. You need to be focused on that and not making waves.
Yeah.
But he starts to realize, no, they do treat me differently and they don't understand what it means to be black, and they don't understand that, you know, othering people, you know, is a form of, you know, prejudice.
I wrote down one of the quotes here. So this is Jules initially. She says, well, just because I don't want to combine proms doesn't make me a racist. And then Mrs. Morgan, she's the teacher character. She goes, I didn't say you were racist. I said the traditions that you're trying to uphold are rooted in racism.
Exactly.
And it's it's all the, like, subtle ways that people are racist. Like, even the wanting, like, even Wendy, like, she wants to save Maddie. She wants she wants to, like, be her savior.
Yeah,
and ends up, like, stirring things up and making things way worse than they needed to be.
That's what I like about this book, because there's a lot of different ways to be racist. I think Get Out was a good book in talking about how, like, there's liberal racism. Just by pointing out someone's skin color repeatedly when they're talking to them and being like, oh, I watch Tiger Woods, so I understand your whole situation.
Yeah.
That's racist, even if you're being nice. It just, you know, when you're judging someone entirely by their race, whether you're trying to be nice or not, like, you are being racist.
Yeah.
And this book is even better in the way it explores different ways that happens. So, yeah, Sue is very much, you know, like, trying to be that white savior character. Somebody like we'd see in, like, the movie The Help, you know, where they need the white girl to help them out. And she's not selfless. She wants it to be clear to her potential colleges that she's not like the others. She's not racist. She has a black boyfriend.
Yeah.
But it's all about how it looks. It's not really about Maddie. Though I will say Wendy, I think, has the biggest character arc, because I think by the end of that by the end of the book, she fully does understand. And I don't think she was intentionally racist in the beginning, but I think by the end of it, like, she got woke.
Yeah, I agree with that. She really saw the harm that she caused for not only Maddie, but for Kendrick as well. Like, she didn't realize how she was, like, suppressing him. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
But even with Kendrick, I think the racism with Kendrick is more like tokenism.
Absolutely.
Again, like Tiger Woods or something. Well, you're black, you must be good at golf. And he is instantly very good at football. And Wendy wants him because she's poor.
Yes.
And her whole thing with him is she wants to ensure she has a good future and she's not poor. It's not really about him. She doesn't really know him. She doesn't know his family. She's just looking for a free ride. And his friends too. Like, I think they like saying they have a black friend, but they don't really want to get to know him.
No, they're really shitty to him.
They are.
Yeah, they're not very good to him. And he, you know, his dad makes a big deal about him, like, not making waves and, like, keeping his head down and doing the work. And I think a lot of that, you know, from the dad's perspective, is about survival, right? Like, living in this segregated town the way it is, like, they have the nuclear power sirens that are like curfew sirens for people of color in the town, right? So he's like,
they don't use it like that anymore. It used to be that's when people of color had to go home.
Yes.
But they still have it because it's nostalgic. And
yes.
again, being somebody who lives in a small town, we live in a small town. We have something similar to that. We have a skookum sign. So skookum, it's like orchard packing, like for apples.
It's an apple brand, yeah.
And the mascot of that is a Native American chief. But it's a cartoon. Obviously, those are Native American people are people, not cartoons. They're not mascots. It's just highly inappropriate. Yeah. But because it's been around for forever, they keep this sign.
Well, they took it down.
It has a sign that, like, the eyes go back and forth like a Felix the Cat. Yeah. For the longest time, there was petitions to keep it and stuff, and a lot of people were like, that's kind of messed up. We need to get rid of that. But I mean, I think until, like, I don't know, like 10 years ago, it was still up.
I think it was even less than that. I want to say it was like 5 or 6 years ago.
It wasn't that long ago that it finally got taken down.
Like right before COVID, they took it down.
And it's something you kind of would take for granted here.
Yeah.
And I think that it reminded me a lot of this. Just because it's always been that way, or just because you have nostalgia about it, doesn't mean that it's right, and it doesn't mean that it shouldn't be changed.
Yes.
So they're all like, well, we've always had prom this way. And it's like, okay, but do you always need to have prom this way? Things like that. Like, this book really talks about, like, questioning the things that you have taken for granted. Some of those things may not be good, and just because they may not hurt you, like when people talk about, like, make America great again, it's like, great again for whom? For white middle-aged guys? Because, you know, a lot of these things, in the South, like, a lot of what they're dealing with here, it's not great for people of color. It's not great for white people. I think wasn't there a Hispanic character too
in this book?
No, I'm thinking of Nickel Boys.
I was gonna say I don't think so.
But yeah, I read a book. But yeah, I read a book called Nickel Boys, which is a completely different book, but very good. And that one, they had like a reform school that was segregated. So there was like the black campus and the white campus, and then there was a Hispanic boy, and they would just bounce him back and forth between them because they didn't know what to do with him. Like, if he got tanned, then he got sent to the black one, and then if he lightened up, they'd send him to the white one. But it's like they never stopped and used it as an opportunity to go, maybe this is stupid.
Where are these lines? Why are the lines being drawn where they are?
Exactly.
I did make a note about it's not on the plane of the racism, because that is like the main point of this book. Really, is the racism.
Yeah, I feel like we're talking about a lot of it's not. I guess what people would call political. It's not like I never felt like I was being preached to. I never felt like I was being preached to.
No.
I have seen some things where I've just seen a lot of movies and stuff where I think you can have an important message. Like, I think Get Out's a good one. Doesn't make you feel preached to. I think even though
just opens your eyes.
It wasn't made for me.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean that I can't appreciate it and I can't get something from it.
This, though, I feel like is made for everybody.
I actually think so. But I have seen some things where it's like the movie Black Christmas, the remake of Black Christmas. It's very, like, sitting on a soapbox and like, hey, I agree with the message here. You know, the rape situation on college campuses is insane. The way girls are treated by men and stuff is it needs work. But when you kind of point a finger at people, they stop listening.
Yeah, and this book takes a lot of different perspectives. Like, even when Kaylie, the little sister, when she's like mad about the way that Maddie was able to hide being black, like thinking that she did it on purpose, right? She was like, well, she didn't choose this path. I would thought that was a really interesting take. You know.
Yeah, so Kaylie is Kendrick. That's the football player's little sister, and she's saying, but Maddie is benefiting from these privileges that I didn't get. However, I think even Kaylie is being really narrow-minded there, because right now there's a huge spotlight on Maddie who never asked for it, and she's being entangled in all these things and getting bullied and such. And I feel
highlight that one.
I feel bad for Maddie because people of color are rejecting her. We're like, well, you've been, thinking you're so much better, and you're trying to pass as white, and you think you're better than us, and they're not embracing her. And then
she didn't choose it.
Exactly. And nobody is thinking, hey, there's this girl here who's being bullied, and the way she's being treated is wrong. And putting their feelings aside and just addressing the issue of this girl as being mistreated. Yeah. Everyone has their own personal backgrounds they're bringing into it, and they're shading their own experiences on it.
Yeah, absolutely. Projecting, for sure. Yeah, I thought that was a really interesting perspective in the story. In this book as well, so Kendrick is the boyfriend, and his girlfriend Wendy talks him into asking Maddie to the prom.
So I want to go a little more into it, because I also thought when it started, I'm like, okay, it better not be just the hair thing.
Oh, right, yeah.
And what I like about this, as opposed to Carrie, too, is it escalates. Like, the hair thing, I think it could have just gone away, but Jules has to double down. And it's because she doesn't want to be called a racist, and I've noticed that a lot. A lot of people who are behaving racist, the thing they're most offended by, if you call them out, is that you call them a racist.
You call them a racist.
Not, yeah, and that's how Jules is. And so she keeps escalating this and escalating this. So they have like a football game, and people can go dressed in costume.
Jules comes in blackface.
She comes dressed as Maddie. She has a sign on her that says Maddie. She's got blackface. And this is when Kendrick finally realizes his friends suck. And he gets really angry. And then the coach, because Kendrick is a very large black man, he's like, no, son, you need to go sit down. He's like, she's in blackface. Yeah. And they don't do anything. She's just like, oh, poor me. Yeah. Someone's shouting at me, and it's really, really scary. Nobody is looking, and he realizes that they're not seeing this for what it is. His friends are just, they're not actually friends to him. And then he sympathizes with Maddie. He starts to actually talk to her, and he's like, I actually get along really well with this person.
Yeah. And they hit it off, and I thought that their relationship was incredibly realistic and very sweet. I don't love a lot of romance. Like, we'll talk about that a little bit later. In books, it can really take you out of it. But this was the way that she wrote it. It was very much like, these are high school seniors, and he doesn't have all the best ideas of what a true relationship looks like, but he knows he loves her, and he wants to protect her, and he sees her for who she is because she sees him for who he is, beyond the football star. They go for drives, they share a milkshake. It's really, really sweet. And
I think even that, I honestly, I don't know. So basically, it's not like in Carrie. So in Carrie, Sue sets up Carrie with Tommy, her boyfriend, and Tommy's just a really nice guy, and they have some really cute moments, but it's like your typical high school movie where people are in love with each other. I went to high school, you went to high school. Most of the relationships are just people going through the motions, kind of practicing at dating, and every so often there's a high school sweetheart, but most high school relationships are just very
Surface level.
Surface level, yeah. And that's what Kendrick's relationship is with Wendy, and he doesn't see it going anywhere. They're going to go to separate colleges. He has no idea that Wendy basically bailed on her own college to go to his college.
She's a lunatic.
She is a lunatic. But this situation with Maddie, at first he just wants to go out and have a milkshake with her because he doesn't want to go to prom with a person who's a total stranger.
Yeah.
But she's actually listening to him. And I think a lot of that's also like the classes of him in high school too. There's a certain amount of pressure that I didn't have to deal with because I wasn't a popular kid. But, you know, popular kids are very like needing to perform for each other and stuff. And I, you know, whereas I think I'm making a lot of assumptions here, but you know, kids who are like picked on and bullied, their high school experience is a lot different. And I feel like because she is on a lower tier ranking in high school, he's having an experience with her that he's not getting with his friends who are just like, let's go have fun and stuff, because for her, high school has not been fun. And she's more aware and open to things like his feelings and stuff, because for her, like for some people, like high school has been hell.
Yeah.
It's sucked ass.
Yeah.
And so she can recognize things like him being in pain or him being stressed out.
Yeah. She listens to him. She asks him questions that nobody's really asked him before. And he really like falls in love with her. Like he's head over heels for her. I really liked that part. I thought it was really sweet and realistic.
And I think through him, she's learning confidence, because he is one of the most popular guys in school. He is the best football player in school. And so the fact that he likes her, that he sees her and thinks she has value, makes Maddie kind of value herself. She starts standing up to her dad and stuff, which Carrie does do in that version too. And I mean, that's something else I think we should talk about, is her relationship with her dad as opposed to Carrie's relationship with her mom. Also, I'm not trying to say like one's better than another. I'm just saying these are things that this one did right. Yeah. There are things Carrie did right too. I'm going to get into that stuff later.
Or also to just the way that this author did that retelling. Like how she pulled from the story. Like I haven't read Carrie, but I didn't see all those similar. But I've seen 2 of the 3 movies. I do see the similarities. Like, but how she changed it for her goals.
I don't want to spoil like a lot of it, but with Carrie, it's really just about like, you know, religion stuff. Her mom thinks that because Carrie has these powers, which it's revealed very early on, and a lot of the same events happen with Maddie. It's almost like an alternate universe. Like the rocks thing happens. A lot of the things from the Carrie book have happened with Maddie. The period thing. But with Maddie, her dad, it's less like, I feel like it's less the hatred I got from Carrie's mom, where she's afraid of her, but she also just seems to really hate her. And the way that a lot of I feel like some women have about their teenage daughters, like they're this feeling like just of competition.
Yes, I was just going to say like a competitive.
And this relationship is very, very different, and he really wants to keep Maddie under his thumb, but you get this impression that he is afraid of her, and you find out it has a lot to do with his own relationship with his mother and his fear of like women and stuff. And so you can view that the power she's having, it's a lot of like the, you know, when girls are little, I see a lot of like daddy's little girl stuff. You don't really have mommy's little boy as much.
No,
you're taught to, you know, give your kids space and let them grow up. But a lot of guys want this like little daddy's girl forever, and I think to some degree there's an amount of control there. I've also heard things like, you know, a daughter is a daughter forever, a daughter is a daughter for life, a son is a son until he finds a wife. Men are encouraged to go out and have their own lives, but a lot of parents, especially fathers, treat them like they're still property, and for the longest time that was the case. I mean, you had a dowry and stuff because you're basically selling your daughter, and you still get to have a lot of say in what she does. And I think especially as we are progressing and we're looking at more like how to make equality between men and women, I think there are some older generations that are very threatened by girls coming into power, girls seeking to make more money, girls seeking to be in spaces that were previously shut out to women.
I agree with that. Yeah, and he like forces her, the only movies that they're allowed to watch are like movies from like the 40s to the 60s, right? Like a lot of Audrey Hepburn, like not even Marilyn Monroe.
No,
it's
he wants like Donna Reed.
Yeah, like demure, like, this is your place and this is where you stay. He definitely has a fear of women.
Yeah, absolutely. And so, yeah, like, there's a lot of stuff in here. Like, we've got sexism, we've got racism, we've got classism. And she's doing all this through a retelling of Carrie. And to credit Stephen King, the bare bones of that were there. And she's taking this and she's like, how can I work with this to tell a modern story and make it relevant? And I think she did a fantastic job. I truly did not think a retelling of Carrie was going to be this freaking good. Yeah. And it's this freaking good. Like, I think this is something that, honestly, if I was a high school teacher, I'd be like, I'm going to assign my kids this book.
1000%.
There's a lot here. A lot here that I really, really like.
Yeah.
I want to talk about it as a horror novel.
Yeah.
Because, what I love about Carrie, and I think Carrie hits certain people in a certain way. And I know Tiffany D. Jackson, loves Carrie. Obviously, she did a retelling of it, but she loves the original book, and you do see that here. I feel like for those of us who were not popular in high school, who were the misfit, those of us who've been bullied, I like the kind of warning there, like, be careful who you bully. And that can be a lot of different things. That could be the person you bullied may end up being wildly successful one day, and you might
a job by them.
Yes. You don't know. The person you may end up wanting to marry someday may be best friends with that person or related to that person. And the horror version of that is she may eviscerate you with her fucking powers.
Yeah. She'll throw a train at you.
Yes. So it's just like, people are more than they appear. And with Maddie, obviously that has a lot of different meanings.
Yeah.
But yeah, you don't know where they've come from. You don't know their world. And, it's, you shouldn't do it because it's wrong. But if you're a horrible person and that's not enough from you, you shouldn't do it because you do not know what you're getting into. Yeah. Especially when we live in a day of, like, school shootings and stuff. Like, you can only poke a bear so much before it comes back at you.
I agree.
Everybody has their breaking point. And Maddie is a pretty meek little girl, but she does get to her breaking point. And, yeah.
And she is incredibly violent.
I actually looked for that because Stephen King reads a lot, and I'm actually sad that I could not find any endorsements. This book has like a 4.6 rating on Goodreads, which is phenomenally high. I am surprised he hasn't read this. I would like him to read it and comment on it because I think he would actually really like it.
I think so too. I'd be surprised if he didn't.
Just talking more about the horror of it, I also feel like she expanded on things like Carrie's abilities. Yeah. So we get a little bit of these tastes of things in Carrie, like things will move and stuff. But there's like a sound that happens when she uses her powers,
and but only like a certain age range of people can hear it. So only the students can hear the sound that she's emitting or that's being emitted from the surroundings when she uses her powers. Like, people get headaches, they get nauseous, they go home sick, but the adults don't pick up on it. So they just, like, they don't think anything of it.
And like electronics kind of behave differently.
Yeah.
So I liked that kind of stuff. She also does a lot of research, which Carrie also does. She reads a lot of books and stuff. So I thought that was interesting. Yeah, she does some. I'm not going to spoil a lot of stuff for you, at least not until we get to spoiler section. But yeah, Maddie does some. She does some damage.
She really does.
She does a lot of damage. I do think we'll get some more spoiler-free stuff out of the way, but I do think we should talk about the ending of this one. Yeah. Oh, that's another thing I wanted to talk about is just how women and also, children are gaslit by their parents or older generations. And to a degree, you could even say that about this town. Like, they're affirmed by their older generations that it's okay that you have a segregated school. You're not racist. It's okay. It's just the way it's always been done. It's just the way our town is. You're okay. And I think that is a form of gaslighting because it's completely inappropriate. And what really spurs Jules on is when she does the blackface. Now that video goes viral. It goes massively viral. So now she's getting hate and death threats from all over the country. And instead of stopping and thinking, wow, I fucked up, she's like, oh, poor me. And she doubles down more. Yeah. And now she's restricted from the prom, just like Chris was in Carrie, and she wants revenge, and she's going to get her revenge on Maddie. And then as far as how the gaslighting applies to, you know, Maddie, her father flat out lies to her. It's awful. Mm-hmm. So her dad makes her recite facts from history about, like, you know,
who was the president during this war or whatever.
And he has it completely changed. Like, she thought during the civil rights movement it was completely peaceful. Mm-hmm. And people just agreed, you know what? We shouldn't do segregation anymore. It's not a good thing. She had no idea that there were riots and that people were harmed and all the horrible things that obviously happened. Yeah. And it kind of makes me think even of, like, how high schools will tone down that stuff. Like, in high school, I didn't learn about a lot of
stuff. Censorship.
Yes, because history is written by the victors, and they get to say how that story is told. And that is a form of gaslighting when you remove certain parts of that truth. You know, like Columbus Day is the stupidest fucking holiday ever, but I can tell you that my school celebrated it, and we had kids dressed up as Native Americans and stuff, and it's highly racist and inappropriate. But we were taught that was okay, and that's something that should be celebrated. Yeah. But it's fucked up.
We live and we learn and we pivot. And that was something I wrote about, like, one of the themes of the book, about, like, redemption and the potential for redemption and change. And mostly I feel like Wendy is, like, the pinnacle of that kind of an idea, how she kind of, like, transforms, but also Kendrick himself and the growth that he has in seeing his friends for who they are. And Callie, too, his sister.
Callie is actually the one that tells Wendy, because Wendy gets to a place where she wants to help more, and she's like, then you need to do something. You can say something all you want. You can say you're not racist. You can say you care about these things, but it's really your actions that determine who you are. Yeah. So if you want to help, in this case, she's talking about black people. If you want to help black people, then help black people. Yeah. Don't just talk about it.
And don't just help yourself.
Exactly. So that's what she basically calls her out and says, like, you setting up my brother with her it's to help you.
It doesn't do anything for Maddie.
Yeah, she put Maddie under a spotlight and all this stuff, and then once she starts seeing that they're, like, falling for each other, then she gets, like, really jealous and stuff, but she didn't do it for Maddie. She did it for the wrong reasons. Whether or not it benefits Maddie, she didn't...
That wasn't what
it's not really what's important. It's her intentions. And so she needs to do something truly selfless in order to make a difference. And I feel like ultimately she does.
I think so too.
So I'm going to put, do you want to say anything else non-spoilery?
I don't think so.
Okay, are you guys okay with spoilers? We're going to do some spoilers for The Weight of Blood.
Spoilers. I mean, if you've seen any of the Carrie movies, you know how it is.
Okay, so spoiler alert, Maddie goes fucking crazy at the prom. Yeah. Because they freaking pushed her too far. So, ways they changed this is a little different. I do think it's interesting that it's called The Weight of Blood. Because at the prom, they do not dump pig's blood on her like they do to Carrie. No. They dump white paint on her. I think maybe weight of blood implies, like, you know, the blood of the people before you, like the blood, you know, you have, and like the weight of that. I think it is a quote from the book at some point. It's a little interesting though, because we also see her on the front with, like, red on her, and she doesn't. She has white paint on her, which is obviously smells really bad and it's really
I think I highlighted it. Yes.
Oh, good.
You, my child. This is a letter that Maddie finds from her mother.
Yes, who she had
never met. Died during childbirth. You, my child, were created in a hurricane, leaving destruction in your wake. You, as they say, are a storm with skin. Death and rebirth will follow you everywhere. How can one man who knows nothing of the weight of blood tame you? For wherever you go, there you are.
Yeah. So I think that's really good. I do think it was a misstep on... I mean, I get it, because they want you to know that it's a Carrie retelling. But I think you could have done it maybe differently. Yeah. Like, even silhouetted it. Because essentially, what's the pitch of this? It's Carrie, but it's modern day and she's black. Yeah. So you could have done, like, a silhouette of her, like, on the top of there with, you know, because they put white on her. You could make that look black, and then, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either.
Put in, like, negative space. So, like, Maddie would be black, and then you've got the white paint,
Yeah.
And it would still be clear that it's Carrie.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm spitballing here. I don't
like
for a
it.
publisher thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I think that would have been better than showing the blood because that doesn't happen. So, yeah, I think we're expecting the blood thing to happen and it doesn't happen. It's white paint.
So the black prom gets turned into the everybody prom. They call it they call it the all together prom. So
but here's what's really fucking stupid about it. So they have the all together prom, which the girl who runs the black prom, normally they get no money for it, and it's held in a barn. And she's excited because they actually get extra funds this year. But here's the thing: the all together prom. There's still 2 proms. It doesn't solve anything. And they said even before that the white kids would go to the black one afterwards because they had better music.
Yeah. But the black kids could not go to the white kid prom.
That's bullshit.
Yeah. The white kid prom is held at the country club.
Yes. And that is segregated. Yes. So, yeah, a lot of the kids who do not believe that the prom should be put together, they still have a white prom.
They still have their own prom.
And again, I think this is what Callie's getting at. What you're doing doesn't change anything. Yeah. There's still segregated proms. Only now, I guess, even less so, like, white kids are not going to be criticized for going to the black prom. Yeah. But they're still welcome in all spaces, whereas
black people are
not welcome in all spaces. So you really have not solved anything. Yes. My sweet babies, I'm going to kick you out.
They're boofing.
Yes.
So Maddie and Kendrick go to the all together prom.
Yes.
And
the plan is, because you have to, like, I wonder, like, I like that Kendrick's finally questioning this. Like, he accepted that he and his girlfriend were not going to even go to the prom because they can't go to the country club. Yeah. And they weren't going to go to the black prom. And now that there's an all-together prom, he's going with Maddie. But originally the plan was that they weren't going to go, and they were going to meet everybody up for an after party afterwards. But, like, yeah, it sounds ridiculous, and he doesn't really even realize that because people don't question things that they've done for so long.
Yeah. Yeah. So they go, and their name is obviously on the ballot for King and Queen of Prom.
And Jules has it rigged.
I was going to say, yeah, Jules. I don't remember if they were initially on there to begin with.
I don't think so.
Or not. So
I don't know.
I don't know.
Actually, I think they would have been because Kendrick would have been on there.
Yeah.
But at any rate, they replaced the ballots with ones that make it just like. I think it was the same thing in Carrie. It was because Tommy was popular.
Yes.
They were going to be on there, but they probably wouldn't have won. Actually, I think in Carrie they tell you that they wouldn't have won.
Yeah. They could have won in this one, though, I feel like.
Possibly. A lot of people seem actually kind of open to hanging out with Maddie and stuff once they kind of get to know her.
Yeah.
There's really just only a handful of people who are just really just going out of their way to be shitty. And the teacher, I think the teacher is actually a lot better than the teacher in Carrie because she is like, she joins the kids who are protesting at the country club
to protect them.
She goes out of her way to help Maddie and be there for Maddie. She tries to go to her house. She really goes out of her way to help Maddie, and I really feel bad that she gets a shit end of the stick.
Yeah, a lot of people do.
So I'm going to get into what I don't like about this book. And that's why for me, it's not going to be a perfect book. Because so far, I've been nothing but praise. Nothing but praise. And I will tell you, Carrie is one of my favorite movies of all time. Talking about the Brian De Palma one. I really love the book. I do like, if I was going to compare the two, I would say I like the movie better. One of my favorite movies of all time. I do love the book. It's one of the first horror movies I ever remember watching. I remember my mom was telling me about it. And I was like 6. And I was like, she used to read me books that she was reading when we were at the doctor's appointment or whatever. And I was like, so what else does the girl with the powers do? What else? Well, that's interesting. She's like, well, there's a movie. Do you want to see it? I'm like, heck yeah. But I remember I really loved it. The only part that scared me was at the end when Carrie reaches up from the ground and grabs her. For the longest time, I would run and jump into my bed so Carrie couldn't grab me by the foot. My bedroom was upstairs. It's ridiculous.
Listen, your mind tricks you. It's very scary.
Yes.
Yes.
So, What I didn't like about this, I feel like Carrie, there are no winners.
Mm-mm.
There are no winners in Carrie. And I feel like when we have a situation where people are bullied, which is what the original Carrie is,
Mm-hmm.
it's just straight up about bullying,
Mm-hmm.
there aren't winners, you know?
Yeah.
It's a horrible thing and it needs to change. And I think even if you get revenge on the people who bullied you, there are a lot of stories that do that. I don't think you come out going, yay, I got revenge. I feel good.
No.
You don't feel good.
No.
Hate just brings more hate. And revenge is a form of dishing out hate. Whether or not they deserve it, it doesn't feel good.
Mm-mm.
And we have a lot of movies that tell us that it's going to feel good. And I think those movies are a lie. And that's just my opinion.
Yeah.
Carrie, it's really sad. So the movie cuts out a lot of this. But you've seen the movie, she kind of loses, she disassociates.
Mm-hmm.
She's not fully aware of a lot of the things she does. And then she leaves the prom. She gets Chris, who's the meanest girl.
Mm-hmm.
She blows up her and her boyfriend at the gas station.
Yes.
She sets the whole town on fire. She gets home and she takes a bath, and then she kind of comes to. And then she's like, Mama, you were right. They were horrible to me. And she's crying, and it's so heartbreaking. And in the movie, she stabs her. In the book, her mom tries to kill her, to stab her, and she takes her mom's heart in her mind and crushes it. And then she makes rocks rain down on the house, just like we found out when Carrie was little.
So this is very similar to what Maddie does to her dad in this.
But I guess where I'm going with this is then, like, Sue finds her dying, and she takes pity on her. She's not afraid of her. Carrie kind of passes some stuff to her, but then Carrie dies. And it's sad, and it's tragic, and she didn't win anything. Mm-hmm. You know, if she had her way, like, Tommy dies. Tommy gets hit with a paint bucket. He gets a concussion. Nobody can leave. Nobody wakes him up, so he dies in the fire. The teacher dies. The only person who really survives is Sue, and Sue is not okay. I think the movie did a better job of showing what that would be like for Sue, because we see at the end of it, she's waking up screaming. Mm-hmm. Everybody she cared about at her school is dead. Mm-hmm. She is never going to be okay. Now, in the book, there's court scenarios, and she's being interviewed and stuff, and she's still haunted, and she's just not okay. Mm-hmm. Nobody wins. And I really respect that about Carrie. This is where I get upset about The Weight of Blood. I feel like it's way too precious with its characters. Mm-hmm. And this kind of story isn't a story that you should be precious with anybody.
It could have weighed a lot more if she had been, I don't want to say brave enough, because I don't know what her intentions were, but to have that courage to, like, kill off certain people who didn't die. You know, like, Kendrick gets hit. He gets hit by a police officer. And Maddie thinks he died.
Oh, okay, so we'll back up a little bit. So they pour the paint on Maddie, and then Maddie does kind of disassociate. Mm-hmm. She doesn't, and I think it's good because you don't want her, like, killing everybody at the All Together prom.
Yes.
She, basically, she's not doing great, but she has people who care about her, who kind of usher her outside. Yes. And Kendrick goes with her. He's just like, you know, shouting at everybody, you know, because he's not hit by the paint bucket like Tommy had. So he takes her outside. I think they do this because they want to get her to that country club. Mm-hmm. And then you see all the people protesting and stuff. And Kendrick...
So the kids who did it to Maddie, they booked it to the country club.
Yes. So he wants to get to the country club so he can call them out. And honestly, this is one of the places where I'm just like, just go the fuck home. Yeah. Deal with it later. Because everyone's hot right now, which I, again, kind of talked about this. Yeah. He wants to get into the country club and tell them off. And because, you know, there's protesters and stuff, and there's already cops there to make sure that it's a peaceful protest with people protesting the country club's white prom. So there's a cop there who's just been looking for an excuse to hit somebody, and so he sees Kendrick being very, very angry, and he, like, beats the shit out of him.
Something happens, and Kendrick, like, backs up into one of the police officers, and he takes it as, like he attacked him, and he just beats the shit out of him.
Way over the top. And again, very relevant, because this does happen a lot.
Yes. And so Maddie's like, there's no pulse. And that is like her real catalyst for losing it. And she throws police cars at people. Like,
oh yeah,
so
she goes full Final Destination.
People get cut in half. Like, heads explode. It's
so it makes me sad because like the teacher gets killed.
Yeah.
And
a lot of the protesters
which is
get
fine.
killed.
At this point in time, I was like, fair enough, because like everybody died in the block room, and they keep telling us at the beginning of this book that like nobody survives. So I was like, fair enough. We knew this was going to happen. Everyone's going to die.
Too many people survived.
She goes in. Well, we're going to do that. She goes into the country club. Jules leaves, but that did happen in Carrie. Chris did leave. And she kills pretty much everybody who was in the country club. She basically, they should have been clear. All the kids at the white prom died.
Yes.
But also a lot of people who were protesting stuff outside, like that poor teacher. But yeah, she kills all of them. There's like a couple kids. There's like one kid who survived. He gets pushed behind a door, and then Maddie sees him on her way out. And that's the thing. Maddie's not as disassociated as Carrie was, so she lets him leave. Carrie would not have been able to do that. Carrie was not in any frame of mind to have mercy on anybody. She was too far gone. And I wish we had that with Maddie, because I wouldn't be as... it's easier to forgive Carrie because she's completely disassociated. The fact that Maddie can spare somebody, it's like, well, what about your poor fucking teacher? Like, okay. So then this is where I get kind of irritated. So Jules, she survives, which pisses me off. I hated this girl. And I think the writing is very good because, like we mentioned before, Wendy is poor. And Jules is... she has good qualities. I don't even want to say she's like balanced, because she's not. She's a piece of shit. But like, she was very rich, and so she'd always ask her parents for 2 of every toy she got so she could have Wendy one. So like, they give her human traits, but she's still a garbage person.
She never comes around.
Never. You have the court cases in this too, which, by the way, the audiobook of this is perfection.
It's really good.
The podcast and everything are done really, really well, and
there's a lot of voices.
Yeah.
I really liked the girl who did the voice for Wendy.
Yeah.
I thought that she did a really great job.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Jules, she lost an arm, but she survives. And what kills me is at the end of it, the court thing, she's still talking about how sad it was for her and like what a monster like Maddie was and stuff. And I mean, I guess there's some honesty to that. There are some people, no matter what, they will never, ever learn. They'll never learn.
If anything, I felt like it gave her more, more of a reinforcement for her racism.
Yeah, so that frustrated me. And then, like, you have just way too many people who survived here. So, Maddie does live. Spoiler alert.
Yeah.
We already gave you the spoiler. I don't know.
Spoiler.
So Maddie lives. Like, she is not in as bad a shape. She goes home to her dad. Her dad, you find out, is afraid of her because his mother had powers.
Yes.
And that, to me, made a lot more sense. Like, he's got his own trauma that he's projecting. But she kills her dad.
Yep. She crushes him.
Crushes him just like Carrie did. And, Mommy, you got here... we already talked about a lot of the good stuff, so now it's going to sound like we're just shitting on the book. But
we really liked it.
We're talking about the ending here. So she kills her dad, and then Wendy, we don't see it, and that's another problem I have with the ending, as I wanted to see. There are a lot of third-person point of view chapters where they could have shown it, but essentially Wendy had helped her find where her mom is located, and it's kind of implied, nobody knows what happened to Maddie, but it's implied that Maddie went and found her mom. Like, Wendy gives her the money and everything so she can go do that. So it's implied, it's heavily implied that Maddie ended up finding her mom and living with her and having a happy ending.
Yes.
And I don't want to sound like an asshole, but I don't think that, I was not okay with that, because like, I think it should be a tragedy. I don't think there should be a happy ending, because I don't think in this situation there is a happy ending, and I think it hits harder.
I agree with that.
Also, it's a lot easier to feel bad when, like, Carrie died too. Carrie suffered. You know, at the end of it, Carrie didn't get a happy ending. Maddie getting to, like, move on and be with her mom, like, I felt really bad. Like, what about the teacher you killed? You killed a lot of people. And just killing one person is enough to really wreck your life and haunt you. And I at least show us something, that she's haunted by it or something, but it just didn't seem right.
No, she just gets away, and I don't know.
It also made her like less scary too, because she seemed a little more like just a teenage girl who briefly had a moment of insanity.
Yeah.
The other thing that really kind of annoyed me is Kendrick lives.
Yes.
So she's wrong about the pulse thing.
Yes, she got that wrong. Kendrick gets like swooped away. He recovers for the most part. Like, he's kind of fine. Not fine. Like, he's really badly injured.
He's really beat up, but it's kind of implied that he goes to find Maddie when he gets better, and he's not reported on the survivor list. So a lot of people live.
Yes.
So the beginning when it tells you everyone died, no, not everybody died. Like, a lot of people lived.
I do feel like if Kendrick had died, it would have made Maddie's action. I mean, she thought he died, but I felt like it really would have justified her actions a lot more if he had died. And I feel like it would have made it more realistic. Like, there are people, like, we hear about it all the time. There are plenty of people who die, plenty of black people who die at the hands of police officers for no fault of their own.
I think it would have made it hit a little bit harder if he had died, and it would seem a little more justified, but then, like, we really care about the teacher, and she's killed horribly. Yes. Like, why didn't she survive? Like, if you're going to be precious with the characters, then I guess you have to go by horror movie rules. Horror movie rules are about morality. So then the characters who are immoral should get their comeuppance, and the good characters should. Otherwise, I don't really know what it's saying. So the ending didn't hit quite as hard, but everything up until the ending, I thought was perfection.
I agree.
I think she pulled back on the end, and I don't hate it. I wanted to have that chapter with the resolution with her mom. Like, if you're going to give me the happy ending, give me the happy ending.
But we didn't get that.
And Kendrick, I would have liked that. I would have liked to maybe like how Sue Snell's having nightmares. Like, we see Maddie has nightmares. So then we know that, like Sue, who survived, she isn't getting a happy ending. I think that would have been good. You could have Maddie live and even Kendrick live, but have her have nightmares and stuff so that we see the weight of, you know, what happened in this,
decisions
thing, that nobody's just living their best life.
Well, and not even just like the weight of what she did, but the weight of what this whole
this
community like ultimately placed on her. Yeah. Like the weight of racism.
Yeah, because I mean, I feel like there's a way of looking at the story where you're like, well, it was all bad, but ultimately it worked out for Maddie. So, and I don't like that there's any way you can look at it like that. Yeah. I don't think that's really what it is. I don't think this is the author intended. But I feel like at the end of it, Maddie's in a much better place than she was at the beginning. And so then you're like, well, that's kind of like a hero's trial thing. Like, she had to go through some horrible stuff. But at the end, she's with a parent who cares about her. She's with a guy who loves her. She never would have gotten that otherwise. And I'm just like, yikes. I don't like that. Yeah.
It's a little conflicting.
Yeah. I think, unfortunately, the reality of these situations is there's not usually anybody who gets a happy ending. And it's awful and it's tragic, and I think it would have hit a lot harder.
I agree with that.
But that is not to say that I didn't love it. Do you have anything else you want to say about it?
I don't. Do we want to talk about our...
I ranted a lot about this one.
So,
how many stars do you give it?
I gave it 4.
4. All right, I gotta fix the ratings. Okay, this is a new thing, okay? It's a new thing. There. Oh, wait, no. You give it 4. 4. I gave it 4.5. I thought up until the very... Whoa, why is that all the way up there?
Wait. Oh,
whoa. No. Everything's crazy pants. I really like this. I originally even went 5 stars with it, but I was like, no, because I 5 stars to me is like, I have no notes. If this was my friend, or if I was this person's editor, I would definitely have notes about the ending. I think the ending could have been stronger. Yeah. But beyond that, I think this is a really important book, a really good book. And like I said, if I was a high school teacher, I would try to get this to be a book I taught in class. Because just the way it deals with sexism and bullying and racism and just so many things it tackles, and it tackles very well.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think that there's a lot that you could unpack here with teenagers specifically, but for everybody. Yeah.
And I also, I do respect that she was trying to do something different. So again, with that ending, you're like, well, I'm in Tiffany D. Jackson's shoes. I don't want to do the exact same thing. But I do think she could have had her own kind of tragic ending. Or even with Maddie surviving. Because I always felt bad for Carrie. You know, I would have liked to have seen Carrie end up in a better position.
Yeah, with time and therapy, and
I think it would take a really, really long time.
All the things that like real people have to do to get through.
And I think regardless of whether or not she meant to do it, she did a lot of bad things, and I think that would really mess you up, whether or not the people deserved it. Because there's also, like I said, a lot of people who didn't deserve it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I always wondered that about Carrie. Like, I felt bad in Carrie when she kills her teacher, because her teacher really did seem to care about her. And, you know, had she not burned down the prom, building down the building, Tommy might have been okay. And I don't think Carrie would have wanted those people hurt. But at the time, she sees the teacher laughing at her. And so she's really, like, she's not in her right mind. And I think if Carrie would have lived, it would have really upset her that Tommy and the teacher died.
Yeah.
But, you know, unfortunately, Carrie doesn't live. So I thought, you know, what you could have done in this is kind of show the effects of that.
Yes.
You know, when you get revenge, how it doesn't feel good. I don't think Maddie's gonna feel good.
No.
And I think if she would have just shown us that, I would have been like 5 stars.
Yeah, she's gonna have a lot to work through.
But yeah, absolutely, really, really good. I recommend this as a YA novel. I recommend this to Stephen King fans. I recommend this to people who want to see more female people of color protagonists.
Yeah.
And also just for like what it teaches you about like the current state of America. I cannot believe segregated proms are a real thing. That blows my mind. Blows my mind. But yeah, 4.5 and 4 stars, guys. That's some good ratings, and the average on Goodreads is like 4.5. So it's good. It's a good book.
Well, do we want to grab
Danny, are you coming? Well, I gotta fix these things here.
Fix your things.
I gotta get rid of our spoiler thing. You know, you think, Kayla, that you understand how like this stuff works and it's just easy, but you know it's not easy.
I have no idea. I mean, I watched.
How do you feel about somebody named Kaylie? It feels like you're trying to say Kayla, but you don't know how to get the right vowel sound.
I don't care. I mean, whatever. In The Eyes of the Dragon, there was a Queen Kayla the Good.
It's like you're trying to say Kayla.
Kayla the Good.
Yeah, yes. Kayla the Good.
Kayla the Good.
So this one, and I noticed she's not here today.
Yeah.
Mommy gave it 4 stars.
Woohoo.
Yeah, I think overall across the board, pretty good.
I'm mad Heather's not here.
Me too.
I read this whole book for her.
I'm gonna go message her on Facebook.
You should.
I'm gonna tell her right now.
Okay. I'll just do a little quick swoop in here. Phantasma. Let's talk about it. We have immediately opening. Ophelia Grimm is our main character, and her mother is Tess Grimm, and she dies. She is they're in New Orleans. What year do you think this book takes place in?
Modern day.
Really?
I think so.
It felt very like
I would say this is like a different universe.
I think that's fair.
I feel like, don't they have cell phones? I feel like they do.
I don't know.
I don't remember.
I never heard anything about a cell phone. They get a carriage home instead of a
of
taxi.
Like a steampunky kind of alternate universe. So I mean, I guess it could be set, and I just kind of view this as like almost like how you would a dystopian novel. Only this is like a Gothopian novel.
I love it. Okay, so it's modern day, but it's a very different universe. But they're in New Orleans. We have Ophelia and her little sister Genevieve, and they run this family business where their mother was a necromancer. So she would resurrect or talk to...
Mostly what she did is she helped spirits cross over.
Yeah.
That was her primary job. Occasionally people would pay her money so they could talk to their loved ones. And that's pretty much all she did.
Yeah.
I don't know if... She couldn't make ghouls and stuff.
No.
But she did have certain powers. And essentially how the powers work is when one passes away, usually the oldest one has the powers, then there's like a ritual, and the powers are given to the next oldest child, and then they get these like iridescent, like
white
blue eyes.
Yeah. So Ophelia's the oldest. When her mother dies at the very beginning of the story, she takes her power and the burden of her legacy.
So yeah, now
Sorry,
she's the
I froze.
necromancer, and no worries, I got you, girl.
Okay.
So she has a younger sister, Genevieve. Genevieve's a lot more full of piss and vinegar, and I kind of like it. So Genevieve is basically like, yo, I am not Primrose fucking Everdeen. I got you. So they find out that their mom has a shit ton of debts.
Yeah.
And the sister's like, you know, we can do all these things to get the money back, and Ophelia tries to pull a Katniss, be like, I'm the big sister, I will figure this out. And she's like, no, we are in this together. We are both adults.
Yeah.
And so there is a competition called Phantasma. And Ophelia finds out that her sister has run away to go be a part of this competition. So let me explain Phantasma for you. It's not Phantasm. There's no tall men or Jawas. So, Phantasma. It's set in this creepy old Gothic house, and it's one of those houses where it kind of reminded me of The Thief of Always. Like, you can open a door into nothing. And what's really terrifying about Phantasma is it's run by devils and inhabited by all manner of spirits, ghosts, vampires. And what worse than the trials is the fact that a lot of people just kind of go insane being in Phantasma, because you'll be in your room and a creepy ghoul will be across the floor. The sky might rain blood. You'll open a door into nothing, like that Twilight Zone door opening, and you pay for your entry with your greatest fear. So whatever your greatest fear is, you know for a fact at some point they're going to do that to you. That's why I'm not going to do this, because I don't want to be buried alive.
That would happen.
Yes, it would.
This place is really, really scary. Like, it's a version of hell. Like, so it's like a competition, and you have to go through each of these trials, and each trial is based on like a circle of hell. So the
trials are based on the 7 deadly sins.
Oh, there you go. Yeah. So
but
like
there are 9 levels, like 9 circles of hell. So they kind of bleed into each other. But there's like lust, deceit, which that's not one, but whatever. But kind of loosely like the
fraud.
Yeah. They're based on sins.
Yes.
And each one is conducted by a devil. So the rules of Phantasma is at any time you can be like, I'm done. Fuck this shit, I'm out. Right. Unless you're in a trial. But then again, I don't know. There are people who do it during trial, so I didn't really quite get that, because it said like they couldn't, but then they do. So forget, you know what, they're lying. Anyway, so Ophelia, she goes by there, and then she has this dude like talking to her, and then when she gets in there, she finds out that this guy's name is Blackwell, and he is a phantom. So phantoms are not like ghosts. They can choose to be corporeal or not corporeal. So you can fuck them.
Yep.
I don't know if I picked up on the mic. So you can do them.
Yeah.
That probably did pick up on the mic, right?
Yes.
That's the whole reason he's a phantom.
Yeah.
He's a phantom. Okay, so Kaylie girl, not Kayla. Kayla.
This one.
We need to talk about how Girl to Girl, this was originally Danny Phantom fan fiction.
I've never seen Danny Phantom.
Danny Phantom, let me tell you. He's a phantom. He's a phantom, which I've never heard that in anything else before. He has the powers to be like a ghost, so he can be non-corporeal or corporeal when he wants to. He has white hair, bright green eyes.
Oh.
He's Danny Phantom.
Danny Phantom. This is Danny Phantom.
He's Danny Phantom. So, something that annoyed me in the beginning is it has a lot of tropes. I will say a lot of these did not bother me by the end.
No.
Well, let's get into romantasy. So, romantasy is the new YA thing.
And we've now read 2 of them.
And it's basically just really smutty romance with dragons or some other fantasy element. Kayla's taking off the rings because she's about...
I'm going to throw down.
down.
I'm so mad. I hate romantasy. God.
So this is my second romantasy. I read Fourth Wing with you. Yes. I do think I like this one better, but I like them gothic vibes.
I like this one better.
What annoyed me is, one, we have insta-love. I will say if that bothers you in this book, push through, because there's a reason for it. But Blackwell's instantly like, he loves Ophelia, he's going to protect her, and I don't feel like Ophelia is suspicious enough. Like, if someone was that in love with me for no reason, I'd be like, oh, slow your roll there, son. What the fudge? What the super fudge, indeed.
Well, and she also, like, doesn't like him right away.
They always do that too. They always find this guy, you're so gorgeous and you have a six-pack, but you're annoying.
Yeah.
Oh, BS.
It's so infuriating.
It's so ridiculous. Like, she really has no reason not to like him. He's perfectly nice to her. He's a little snarky, but it's kind of fun and playful.
Yeah. Yeah.
I will give him a break on the fact that they always have abs and they're always like 6 foot tall. I mentioned Ophelia's tall too, but you know, we love a short man.
Yes, we do.
We love all different kinds of sizes, man. I don't mind a guy who doesn't have all 6 of the pack.
Yeah, we don't need all abs.
Honestly, in my experience, guys who have a 6-pack, in order to have that, you have to spend a lot of time at the gym. And I don't really want to be with a partner who spends all the time at the gym.
It's all about sacrifice, right?
Exactly.
At the end of the day, we have more pressing things to deal with in this lifetime than 6-pack abs.
And he has hair like Dante from Devil May Cry. So,
Yes.
yeah. But I'm going to give it a pass because he's a phantom. I don't know. He probably doesn't have to work to keep up the facade. And I think he can make himself look however he wants.
So I felt like when I was reading Fourth Wing, I was really shitting on it. I felt like I was the biggest hater, biggest Judgy McJudgerson. So when I first started reading this book, at the very beginning when they're doing the ritual, I was like, oh my god, I don't know if I can do this.
It does dump a lot of stuff on you
Yes.
at once to get you into the world. And at first I was like, I don't know if I can do this.
I was like,
because
this
it was a
is
lot. And I'm just like,
so
whoa, slow down here.
cheese
I
factor.
prefer something, I feel like I've mentioned this a lot. I sound like a total Potterhead. But like Harry Potter, where we're kind of eased into the whole
Yes.
thing. Like we meet him in a regular world.
Yeah.
Like this is a very different world. Like we mentioned, it seems, I don't know, maybe it's set in a different time period, but
like
see,
kind of flappery,
but-
like the 20s almost.
I feel like this was like 1800s. Like, have you guys seen the
They
Bram
did talk about
Stoker's Dracula?
cars.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
it reminded me of like that kind of time period, or like Nosferatu.
Mm-hmm.
But what makes it different, which makes me think it's kind of just a different reality, is everyone's aware of ghosts and spirits and stuff. Like that's just
Yes.
normal. Vampires are real, so just because of the way that their world understands things like that. I mean,
So-
the fact that you can be a necromancer.
Yes.
It's not like if we had a necromancer in modern day New Orleans, people would be like, "Well, that's kind of strange."
Yeah.
It's just accepted. It's just like being a dentist.
And
I mean, it's creepy. They think it's creepy, but they accept that it's real and
It's a
that what
part
she's
of-
doing is not a con.
Yeah, it's part of their reality. And so I tried really hard once I was like getting into it to be like, okay, this genre of book is popular for a reason, right? There's millions of people who like this kind of story, and who am I to think that I'm better than anybody because I don't like it, right? So I tried really hard to go into this book with like more of an open mind than I have in the past. And I did, there's a lot of redeemable things about this book. It's a good story. And a lot of the tropey things kind of make sense to the story, but it doesn't make them really any less tropey.
Some things I liked about it. So one of the tropes I don't like, and this started back in the YA days with like Twilight, is and even I don't like the whole like Edward's a virgin. Honey, you're 100 and something years old. Like
There's no way.
I'm not impressed. It's okay to have sex. It is not the end of the world. You know, Bella's a virgin. Like a lot of these ones, like they're always like virgins, and it's a little ridiculous. I preferred things. I don't think there's anything wrong with having sex. And in this, Ophelia, I like that it has more of a sex positive thing. She has had sex before. It didn't blow her fucking mind or nothing, but she's had sex before, which is a lot more realistic. There's no stupid like morality about sex.
Yes.
Likewise, Blackwell. If you were going to tell me that the stupid old phantom has never boned, I don't even think that's attractive.
No.
I think the idea of being with a virgin, which I've never been with a virgin, I don't find the appeal of it. I don't want somebody who's never driven before and just got their license to drive my car. And I care a lot more about my vagina than my car.
Yes, great. I love it. That's important.
I just said vagina. My mom's watching.
Well,
I have regrets.
I love it. I think that was a great metaphor. Yes, I agree with that. This is their relationship as much as I, like, don't love that, like, enemies to lovers thing, which this isn't even really that. She's just, like, irritated by him. I felt like this relationship made a lot more sense. Like, it's a very dangerous situation that they're in. And they make these deals to, like, help each other out. And they have all these, like, things that kind of, like, tie them together and bring them closer together.
He basically offers her a deal. Now, she was told by her mother never to make a deal with the devil, but he's not a devil. And she is a little out of her league. So she goes to Phantasma to find her sister. That's why she's there. But in order to get to the place where you can see everybody who's in the competition, you need to get to level 9. So until then, she's with her specific group. So she's going to have to make it through these trials. And the Phantom, Blackwell, he makes a proposition. He's like, I do this every time. I want to get the fuck out of Phantasma because, like, this place cray. Yeah. So he's like, there's a key somewhere in this house that will allow me to leave. He also mentions that he talked to her before and he doesn't remember it. Once Phantasma starts, he has no memory of who he is or why he's there. And that's why he cannot find the key. He only remembers stuff in between Phantasmas. So, he needs her help to find this key. And he has had many people, male, female, they have not all been romantic interests, try to help him find the key, and all of them have failed. In return, what he gets if she fails is a decade of her life. So that way, even if she fails, he can continue to exist for a little bit longer and make it to the next Phantasma, where hopefully that person will be. It's like, you know, the next sleep will be the leap home.
Yeah. I like it. Yeah, so they make this deal, and she's gonna help him find this key, and he's gonna help her with these trials, because they're really hard, and
he's familiar with them.
He's familiar, and people die, like, pretty horribly. It's not okay. I thought that this book did a pretty good job at, like, the horror aspect of things.
Oh, yeah.
It was really upsetting in some places.
Oh, yeah. There's one, for example, it's the Greed one. And they're in cages. And you just get transported into a cage, and you're over hot lava. So already it's really, really, really hot and uncomfortable. You're in a cage that's burning. And what they have to do is they have to reach through the bars of the cage, grab these gold weights. And if you keep the weights in there, you can actually keep them. And a lot of people are there because they're broke.
Yes.
So they want these weights. Or you can attach them to the top, and then you'll go up higher. However, every time somebody goes up higher, everybody else drops down. So if you have a lot of weights, you can go into the lava if you're too greedy. Yes. So that was a pretty good trial.
It was, and they talk about, like, the burning hair and flesh, and, like, it's pretty messed up, and, like, she doesn't really want to kill anybody, but she wants to make it through this challenge.
And Blackwell can't always be there with her. So there's a lot of stipulations. Like, he can... one of the lines I know a lot of people like is he comes to help her, and she's like, you came. He's like, you called, and that is the rule. If she calls, he comes. However, if she's injured, he can't always hear her. And in certain situations, he cannot be there corporally. Like in this case, he'd be weighing down her cage. So he is there as like a mentor, even when he can't be there.
He's like a disembodied kind of voice.
Something else I like about this, I have a brother who has OCD. Now, if you know anybody who has OCD, it's not being particular. It's not cute. There's nothing cute about it. It is a neurological disorder. It's not just being a perfectionist, and it affects people in different ways. My brother has more of the germ type OCD, and it has caused him and continues to cause him a lot of pain and suffering, and it's really hurt a lot of aspects of his life, as you will know. There's nothing adorable about it. It's not like he's just particular. Like, my brother will be up for hours on the phone talking about maybe something happened earlier and he might have those germs on him. Like, he's in the past, like, thrown away, like, all his clothes and stuff. It's pretty awful. And that's what OCD is a lot of these, like, persistent thoughts where you cannot relax. You can't sleep. You can't rest. It's like having somebody in your ear constantly telling you, did you check this? Did you check this? You need to do this. And what I like about this is with Ophelia, it's intrusive thoughts. So it will tell her, you have 5 minutes to get home or everyone you know is going to die. Yeah. And she has to do it. Yeah. And she's constantly having to knock 3 times on things. You better knock, or this horrible thing's going to happen. And that does happen to people with OCD. And a lot of people aren't even aware that there are lots of different kinds of OCD. And I thought they did that really well. It is not romanticized. It is not made cute. It is not used to make her adorable. Like Fourth Wing, she has some kind of bone disorder, which I didn't even really understand because they didn't name it. I didn't find out until about the author. But it's really just kind of made, she's so cute and fragile and sweet. And I don't think the book made me understand why that would be a very bad thing.
It didn't do a very good job. So I know somebody who has that disorder. It's called Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, and it's a connective tissue disorder. So like your joints pop out really easily, but there's a whole bunch of other stuff that goes into it too, like your digestive system. Your heart can be really affected by it. There's a lot that goes into it, but they never really talked about in Fourth Wing what she got hurt a lot.
Yeah, and she's really, really tiny, but a lot of these books do that, where the guy's huge and big, and she's cute and small, and I just didn't understand it, and then you explained it to me, and I'm like, oh, that does sound really horrible. I wish they would have put that in there.
Yes.
And I also think everybody deserves to see themselves represented in fiction, and I don't think being neurodivergent or having a condition like that makes you any less capable of heroism. And so I like that we have a character who has severe OCD. It's not romanticized. It's not made cute. The author also has OCD. I thought the way it was handled was really good. On top of that, I like that it showed that people who are neurodivergent are worthy of love. So it's not like she just gets it cured. She still has it at the end. She calls it her shadow self, which is this horrible voice that's in her head always, and she can't rest or relax, and it makes her do things. That with the trial we talked about, it's like you need to knock on the wall 3 times. Her hands are bloody from knocking on this hard wall, and she's like in severe pain. And what I like is Blackwell sees that, and he still loves her.
Well, and he tries to help her without changing her.
Exactly. And it's not like they can just cure it.
He's like, what's going on? Like, what's the deal? And she like kind of tries to tell him about it, but she's ashamed. But his love kind of like helps her drown the voice out a little bit. Like, it doesn't go away completely, but she can kind of like
she's at peace when she's with him.
Through it. And when she's with him, it's quiet.
Sometimes when she's in a bad situation and then he's there, like when he first comes, like the quote that I've seen a lot in other things, it's actually the shadow voice that's really like getting her down, and he comes and it's like it quiets it down. However, there are times when she is suffering from the shadow voice, and he is able to kind of talk her through it.
Yeah.
He never calls her crazy. He never goes, well, that's weird. He never says snap out of it. He never slaps her. He never does any of the things I've seen in a lot of other things. He is concerned. And he tries to be there as like a calming presence.
Yes. He's supportive and patient.
Yes.
Yeah.
He doesn't like that it's happening to her, but he does accept that it's part of who she is. And he loves her regardless. And just like when you have anybody who's dealing with any kind of ailment, like your loved one could break a leg and you don't like it, but you are there for them and you help them get around, and that's what he's doing. Yeah. And really, our neuro problems are just like the physical ones. We just need a little help. And unfortunately, sometimes that's just a part of who we are.
Yeah. It's about like management, not necessarily curing.
And I think a lot of books like this would be like, well, if she gets cured of the OCD, then she can have a loving relationship. And she's not going to get that. No. But that doesn't mean she can't, and she doesn't deserve to have a loving relationship. I also like that he still likes her even though she's had sex before. A lot of these books are very like judgy.
Yes, indeed.
Judgy. He also, the fact that, she's a necromancer, she kind of feels like that makes her kind of darker and creepier, and he accepts that about her. He just likes her for who she is. It's not just because she's fantastically gorgeous, though she does. Yeah. She is very pretty. Yeah. But he seems to like the combination of things that make her her. Yes. Which I liked, because some of these books, I'm like, well, why do you like this person?
Yes. And you can tell, like, why they like each other.
And I will say something about this that I've been harping on with a lot of, I have this problem with fucking Twilight. There would be no need for Midnight Sun if it was written in third person. And you guys know I fucking love Twilight, okay? But I got notes. That's one of the ones that breaks the rules, like Stephanie. Oh, I got a notebook of fucking notes for you. But I can't help it, dude. Sometimes I just love a bag of dicks. Yeah. Anyway. Like Dick's driving. I'm not a pervert.
Right. No, I get it. Yeah, I get it. I get what you're saying.
So, this one is written in third person, which is perfection. We love it. it pretty much stays in Ophelia's point of view.
Mm-hmm.
So we still have that connection with her, but we do get more of an outside perspective where we can understand what Blackwell's going through. We could also see, like, have you ever seen two people have an argument and you're sitting there like, you guys have both completely misunderstood this.
Mm-hmm.
We can see where Blackwell's coming from and we can see where she's coming from. We can understand where they're having a misunderstanding.
Yes. Absolutely.
Which I liked.
Yes, I like that too. It's not like, she's not perfect.
Oh, no.
She's, she's flawed. And she gets mad at him and, like, gets irritated with him for the stupidest things. Like, I don't understand sometimes why she's like, he's so annoying. And I'm like, girl, he likes you.
I think the thing that annoys her the most is how arrogant he is.
Yes.
Which I can see that. She doesn't want to be treated like a conquest or another, like, because she's told by the devils that he's, like, kissed a lot of his previous ones. And so she doesn't want to just be treated like another, like, notch in his bedpost. And that's when I think she draws back a little bit when he gets a little more arrogant, because she's like, okay, wait a second, maybe his feelings for me aren't genuine. This is just part of his charm. And she doesn't want to get swept up in his charm, particularly because she's there for her sister.
Yeah.
Like, she's not there to, like, meet a dude. Plus, we didn't mention one thing about Phantasma, which I didn't really understand at first. One of the rules is you cannot fall in love. And I was like, that's just some stupid YA thing that they wrote. Actually, I keep saying YA. This is an adult book.
This is not YA.
This is an adult book. That's a stupid romantasy thing that they do that to lure you in.
Yeah.
No, that's actually a rule. So if you fall in love with someone in Phantasma,
you're cursed.
whether or not it's reciprocated, you are cursed. So when you leave, they'll do something horrible to you. An example. Two people who fell in love. I won't tell you who they are. They talk about lots of different people who fall in love in the past. But for the guy, they made him become obsessively in love. And then for the girl, they made her fall out of love with him. So neither of them would ever be happy.
Yep. She's, like, disinterested. And, yeah, it's really, really sad. It's really tragic. So, yeah, there's a lot of the things that are in this that at first you want to be like, this is a trope, and it is, but, like, it all ends up serving a purpose for the most part, except for all of his abs. They don't serve a purpose.
He has a cute cat.
He does.
Poe. Like our Poe.
Our Poe. Oh my goodness.
I think it would have been cuter if it was a spider, but what do I know?
It's a kitty cat.
It's a white fluffy cat.
Yeah. So anyways.
Allergy nightmare is what it is.
I don't really have any other notes on this one.
Oh, I got notes. I got notes.
I liked it.
So I like that. I like it's also as far as the sex stuff goes, I feel like some of these books, and we're living in 2025 now, I really do not like the books where the girl's like, no, I don't want this, and then he forces a kiss on her or pushes her against a wall and they start having sex. I just think that's a bad thing to put out there because it tells people that sometimes no means yes. I don't even give a shit if you think that she means yes. You just stop. Yeah. You just stop. And then if she's like, no, I meant yes. They're like, okay, but you stop.
Yes.
And he tells her that. He's like, we can stop anytime.
Yes.
Which I really, really liked.
And there's another situation with somebody else, and that also is, like, respectful and, like, I will not. If you say to stop, I will stop.
Yeah.
I liked that.
So I thought that was really good. There is no, even though there's some pretty fucked up shit in here, I thought, okay, guys. So there, one of the things that annoys me is after every trial, it does seem like there's a sex scene. At first, they seemed pretty organic with the story. Then towards the end, it kind of reminded me of Fourth Wing, where like, and now we're pausing for a commercial break while they fuck. And I just wanted to get back to the story. However, there is one, and they're doing it. And actually, the sex scenes are pretty hot. But, oh, God. Oh, I hate that he keeps calling her Angel. It was so cringe and eye-rolly. It just reminded me of, like, the whole violence thing. I really hate that they give the girls these stupid little pet baby girl names. There's a reason for it. I still hate it. I don't care.
It's annoying. I
hated it. Though I did call out one of the trials because he keeps calling her Angel, and then one of them he calls her Sweetheart. I'm like, it's not that guy. It's some other douchebag.
And
it was. But that's just because it had annoyed me so much.
Yeah.
Really hated that.
Yeah.
Anyway, so they're boning, and then there's haunts, right? So, like, a cloud comes over, and then it rains blood on them, and they keep boning. And at first, I'm like, that's kind of creepy, sexy. But then I was like, wait, where does this blood come
Where's
from?
the blood
It
from?
probably came from all the people who died in the trials.
Probably.
Like, you have got, like, every STD now.
So gross.
Like, they're in, like, a different time.
Blood's
I don't
not
even think they
sexy.
have prophylactics.
Probably not. They probably do a spell.
It's ridiculous.
It's gross.
So, like, I don't know. You get that everywhere. Like, you know when you do it on the beach? And I wouldn't know because I've never done it on the beach. Because I don't want sand in my coochie magoo. Right? I also don't want somebody else's blood in my coochie magoo.
No. No, it's gross.
I just made up the word coochie magoo.
Coochie magoo. I like that you highlighted this one. His muscles were even more toned than she imagined they'd be.
Something else I can say that I like about this, it sounds really stupid coming from me, who I've seen some fucked up movies. However, I do like with movies, they tell me pretty quickly what I'm getting into. Now, I don't think that I'm not trying to say the MPAA rating board is perfect. It's not. But I do like that ratings are given and warnings are given. Like, I will know before I'm watching a movie, like, oh, it's rated R, why is it rated R? There's going to be some language, violence, or sexual activity or something. I just have an idea of what I'm getting into. I do like that this book, she put content and trigger warnings at the beginning. I think more books need to do that. I think there should be some kind of rating system so people will know, especially with the romantasy ones. Like, maybe not everybody wants what is basically a hardcore erotica.
Yeah.
There's also, like I said, some really creepy stuff in here. There's a lot of violent stuff. There's OCD. It could be very triggering, and the author was sensitive enough to put a trigger warning in the beginning, so you knew exactly what you were getting into, and I did not feel duped.
Yeah.
Especially with Fourth Wing, because that one's marketed towards teenagers. I was like, whoa! Wasn't prepared for that.
No.
I'm looking at some of my notes now.
Yeah, right? That one's my favorite, though.
Yeah, he calls her Angel. I think I wrote.
Yeah.
I was annoyed with the book does drop dong. Thank you, Danny.
Yeah.
I liked Blackwell. I didn't know why she was so annoyed with him. I got that he was kind of arrogant, but I feel like he also made himself very vulnerable with her a lot. And I also hate in these books, and I see that even Hunger Games, which 5-star book, sometimes I'm just like, really? You can't tell that he really likes you? Like, girl, why are you so dumb?
Yeah.
In this, too, it seems pretty obvious that he's genuinely has feelings for her and that this is not something that he does every time. But I don't know. Maybe these girls just have low self-esteems or something.
What was that from?
I remember that because somebody uses that as a swear word, and it's the name of, like, a river in the south.
Okay.
And I was like, it's in here. Atrophilia. It does sound
funny.
like a swear word.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's the line everybody likes.
You came. You called.
Yeah. Okay, so that was my big cringe of this. Is I
also hated that.
It's your kink, whatever. I am not kink shaming, but personally for me, I do not like being treated like baby girl. I do not like anyone pretending to be my daddy. Like, I don't even like my dad. So why would I want you to be my dad?
Yeah.
No. He calls her good girl a lot. He'll be like, yeah, good girl. Like, I'm sorry. I'd be like, and we're done. We are done.
Yeah.
I had a person call me mommy once, and I was like, and we are done. Thank you. There's the door, sir.
Goodbye forever.
Yes.
Yeah, I didn't like that either. I was like, this is very, like, it's a kink thing. It's, for some people, I didn't like it.
And if that is your kink,
good for you.
This book's got you covered.
Yeah.
For me personally, I just didn't really like it. However, I don't feel like he talks down to her a lot, and I like that they explain why she likes it. She does not get praised by her mother. She doesn't get praised by anybody.
And he doesn't do it a ton either. It's like a handful of times. Yeah. And it's just kind of, like, icky.
I don't like it, but I also have different experiences to make me not like it.
It's definitely not at the same level of, like, 50 Shades of Grey.
I've never read that, but I did see the movie, and the movie was hilarious. I need to watch the rest of those movies, but I can't get my son to watch them with me.
I read, like,
that came out wrong.
I read, like, a third of the book, and it was too much. It was a lot of that.
When it comes to movies
like, no.
that are, like, so bad they're good, Caden, my son, is the best person to watch them with.
Oh, okay.
And 50 Shades of Grey was hilarious. And guys, like, it sounds like I'm being a pervert. There's a more intense sex scene in Breaking Dawn, Twilight.
Oh, is it really?
They don't show any freaking... They have, like, very vanilla sex scenes.
But that's what the whole book is about.
I don't know, dude.
Well, anyways.
I don't know.
Okay, well...
They were not very graphic sex scenes. It's just more like, look at my room. There's whips and stuff in here, but you don't really see anything. Anyway, so I didn't like that, but I respect that it is some people's kink, and
Yeah,
if you like
fine.
that, you know, and I see why Ophelia likes it. I'm not Ophelia.
Yeah.
Yeah, Danny read this. I want Danny to join us. So I'm going to go through my notes here a bit more.
Okay.
Yeah. There's some stuff in here that I thought was really cheesy, just in the writing. I think parts of it were overwritten, and I do like Kaylie Smith. I think her book's easy to read, and that's not a diss. I think Stephanie Meyer writes things that are very easy to read. I can pop a Twilight book in like a day.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't say that she is like as good of a writer as like Stephen King or somebody. Like, it's easy to read. Doesn't necessarily mean it's good. I think Kaylie Smith is relatively easy to read. She doesn't have sentences that really stand out or annoy me so much. She has a bit of overwriting, or purple prose is what you call it when things are just a little too flowery. But overall, she's pretty easy to read. I think this book is too long because she embellishes and stuff. But like, he was her new sustenance. Like, that's just a little too over the top. I'm giving you guys examples here. Oh, I hated this. Towards the end, after they have a fight, she's like, "I'm not your angel, but I will be your nightmare if you sabotage my chance at getting my sister back." I was just like, I need a barf bag. Like, some of this was just, I understand. Like, I'm a piece of crap. I am not comfortable with a lot of these kind of like putting yourself out there kind of things. These characters are very, very vulnerable with each other, but just some of the stuff, like, if someone said that to me, even if they were mad at me, I would laugh my ass off. If you're like, "I'm not your angel, Gory, but I'd be your nightmare," I'm like, whoa.
Okay.
You know,
Yes.
like, it's like someone's on her rags. Sorry. So, in context, I've been watching this guy. He's an Australian explains movies, and he basically just says like the worst possible thing, which is constantly like, every girl's on her rags. And at one point he asked her, he's like, "Do you even know what that means?" He's like, "Shut up." Like, he doesn't.
He doesn't.
So yeah,
Oh my
unfortunately it's now leaked into my vernacular,
it. That's
even though
hilarious.
I would never say that to somebody. But I'm female, I think I can say it.
Yeah.
She uses a lot of one, you don't want to use, God, this sounds snotty. You don't want to use a lot of cliche things. So like dropped him like a sack of flour. That's a cliche. It's been used a lot. She uses that like 3 times in here. So she has a few things like that. She talks about her skin pebbling a lot, which the first time wasn't bad. But anything that makes you like note in your brain, you're gonna notice it when it comes up again, like whether it's cliche or not. So
Yes.
and they're just, I don't know.
Yeah.
Like a sack of potatoes. It's in here. See, it's there, and then it's there.
Yeah.
Because we got receipts.
Yes, we do.
And that's a very cliche thing. I wouldn't put it in there at all because it's a cliche. Free like a bird. Things like that are just cliche. Yeah. And she does sack of potatoes more than once. So I don't think her writing is very strong. I don't think it's bad. I think it's decent. I think it's readable. But I would not say that she is a strong writer. I don't think you need to be a strong writer, though, to be entertaining or to make a good book. Like I said, Twilight.
Where are they? Oh, they're over there.
They got moved, okay?
They're over there.
She has something tonight. It's tearing me apart. This isn't the room. Wow.
Yeah.
Ew.
Just
like, and I
can't.
put these like ohs and laugh out.
Ugh. That one's the worst.
I mean, okay, yeah. Some parts of this, I will say, some parts of this are really sexy, and I'm like, hot fucking damn. I honestly find the sexier ones, just like when I was telling you about Bride, I think the sexiest part is when they're not having sex.
Yeah.
He has to scent her, and you're just like, ooh.
Ooh.
And this one, like the first couple before they have sex, I'm like, that's really, really hot. And they have a couple sex scenes where you're like, okay, that's good. But then after a while, like, there's only so many ways you can describe an erect penis.
Yeah.
Like, there's just, like, you get numb to it. For instance, I just watched Until Dawn. It was shit. The movie. But.
Oh, I liked it.
Oh my gosh. They do have people exploding. The first time I saw it, I was like, oh, that's kind of cool.
Crazy.
Then they do it like 50 times. And I stopped thinking it was cool. So, again, like, you have this many sex scenes. They become less effective the more you use them. Not to say that, you know, again, romanticy, that's what it is, you know. And I think it's cool that for an adult book, I don't know about the Fourth Wing necessarily. I think it was too much for a teen book.
Yeah.
But if you want to read your porn like a lady, more power to you.
Do it. Yeah.
I don't judge anybody for that. I think if you just want to watch porn, more power to you. I've seen the American Werewolf in London porno, and it actually had a very nice budget, and I do not regret the decisions I've made.
Well, yeah. I mean, whatever you want to consume, do it. And have a great time. What?
That's where all the blood came from, Gory. All the gashes on their rags from Hoggies. So Hoggies is what he calls Hogwarts. And gashes are like vaginas.
What?
Like when people like something, they're leaking from the gash. I feel like I gotta put this guy's channel in my comments.
Listen, I don't know anything. So, anyways,
So this definitely wasn't a Kayla book.
With no, I didn't.
Danny, come here.
I gave it 3 stars.
Danny, come here. He's here, isn't he?
I don't know. He's present, but I don't know if he's in the building.
I feel like he is in the building. It's 9:30.
We asked him a long time ago to come hang out with us. And
I'm going to go pop my head out and just see if he's here. He's probably on his rags. Danny! Are you going to come here and talk about Phantasma with us or what? We want you to. Come on. You don't want to? Okay, he doesn't want to.
Okay, that's fine. We should wrap it up anyways.
Fine, Kayla.
Well, we still have to talk about what we're going to read next.
Oh my gosh, Kayla, I feel like when we started this, you were not as bossy. Like, it was more like a Watson Sherlock situation, and now you're full on just like Peppermint Patty and like, dude, you need to calm down.
I would love to be like Peppermint Patty. That's my dream.
Like, I'm not going to start calling you sir. I don't care how bossy you are.
Please do.
All right, kind of do ship that
Thank
though.
you. Anyways, I didn't hate it, but I don't want to read many.
Such a journey today.
I don't want to read many more of this type of book.
I think I'm done with romantasy for a little while. I guess my biggest complaint with this book, I would say, because I was pretty solidly gonna give it. I gotta fix this really quick. I gave it a 3 as well, just a flat 3, which is I recommend it. It's decent.
Yeah.
If you are into romantasy, like if you like The Fourth Wing, I do think you should check this out. This is up your alley. I like the gothic vibes of this. I really love the atmosphere of this. I really liked that, and I think it had more interesting characters than like The Fourth Wing, which felt a little derivative to me.
I agree with that.
If that's your bag, you should check this out. If you were already annoyed with a lot of these books, just skip it.
Yeah, move on.
However, I would have probably gone 3.5 with this if it were not for the ending. So I told you, like, Blackwell gets like his memories back after Phantasma. Yeah, you basically have a whole chapter where they're like explaining everything. Why he calls her Angel, why he's insta love with her, and it's like in a chapter, and it was like the first chapter all over again. I was just like, whoa, I've got mad whiplash. That was way too much.
I was a little confused.
Massive info dump, and then it's over, and you're just like, what the fuck? So I really didn't care for the ending. It's not what happens in it. I'm fine with it. I just think you should have stretched that over like maybe 4 chapters.
We could have gotten like a couple little flashbacks.
We don't need to go Return of the King with this, but just breathe a little bit in between sentences here.
I could go Return of the King with anything.
You always could go Return of the King with it.
I always want to go Return of the King.
So I give it 3 stars. Danny, tell us about it, stud.
What?
Well, what do you give it? How do you rate it?
Yeah. You can bring this little chair over here. Nobody can see you because you're too tall.
Yeah. Bring that little stool over.
You're like 6 feet and you have a billion abs.
How many abs do you have?
Dan has a billion abs.
Underneath my gut, I have all the abs.
Actually, I will tell you that as far as this trope goes, almost everybody I dated before Danny was skinny. He was the first person I was like, ooh, muscles. But like, that's how rare it is, guys. I'm not saying like I dated all the people, but I had a, sampling of people. And yeah, abs are just not the thing that they are in romantasy books.
What I didn't like about the trial is like, they just kind of, at the end of the book, is they skipped the last trial.
Yeah.
She just like got to go to the finish line. And then like, soon she gets to the finish line, it time travels backwards, but it doesn't tell you that it's doing that. So I'm like, wait, what's happening? Like, and then it was very confusing. And apparently it was like somebody else, but maybe it was them reincarnated now. I don't know. I'm not sure.
All right, I'm going to put the spoiler thing. So we'll go spoilers for a little bit. Let me know if you can hear Danny. I'm kind of putting this over here. Hopefully it's not making it make a lot of noise and stuff. Oh my gosh, did you hear that dog?
Was that a dog?
That was a dog.
Did it leave?
We put them out there to be with their father, and now you're here. Look at all the hair that's on my... Okay, so spoiler. So at the end, you find out... Do I want to tell them this?
Maybe not all of it.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
At the end, you find out that Black... It kind of reminded me of the Fallen books by Laura and Kate. I'm not going to spoil the big surprise. I'll leave that for you to read the book. But I will explain the whole angel thing. So they had been in love before, and in that previous life, her name was Angel. And he was punished for falling in love with her, and that is why there is the rule that you cannot fall in love with Phantasma. It started with him. And basically that's why he calls her Angel, because he recognizes her. She's been like reincarnated. And that's why he like insta loves her, and why things are different, because he even though he can't remember all this stuff in the book, he feels drawn to her, and she's drawn to him, and so they're kind of like fated to be together.
Like DC's Hawkman, he's always falling in love with the same person, but then like they die and they have to reincarnate.
Yeah, that is tragic.
There's other like animes and stories that have had similar things like
Even we mentioned Bram Stoker's Dracula earlier.
Yeah,
Mina is kind of the reincarnation of Dracula's wife in that one.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what this is. So Ophelia is Angel. That's why he calls her Angel. It's not a pet name. He's just calling her old name. But like, dude, her name's different now, all right? Respect the change.
Yeah.
Don't be using her literal dead name.
Literal.
Yeah, you're literally dead naming her.
Yeah.
I was hoping she'd call him Buffy.
Oh, we would have been there for that.
Yes.
Her Angel.
So I want to know, because you haven't read these books. Oh my gosh,
He's
Daddy's boy.
obsessed with you.
I want to hear from you, because Kayla and I think the reason why we are so eye-rolly with some parts of this is because we've read Fourth Wing, we've read the Twilight books. Another thing I hated in this, and I didn't hate it when I read it in Hunger Games. Ever since Hunger Games, there's always one guy in these competition ones who, for no fucking reason, wants to kill the girl. And so it was Kato in Hunger Games, but in in Divergent, there was the Miles Teller character. A lot of these ones, they have some crazy blonde dude who wants to kill them. I don't know if he's blonde in this, but yeah, in this one, it also... Yeah, Kaylin, he just wants to kill her more than anybody else.
Him and his friend Mike, they kind of pass it off as just like ignorance and fear, because she's basically a witch, and he thinks she's a demon, but still, she uses magic.
She's got powers.
She's not human, as far as he's concerned.
Yeah.
They do show that like he has some layers, like when his cousin is screwed over, even though he's not nice to his cousin, he still vows revenge and stuff. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
He does seem to care a little bit. It's just
what did you think of their romances?
I think it was hotter before they started boning all the time.
Okay,
like the boning wasn't bad.
Did you get feels in your tummy, like butterfly feelings, or did you get like any like aroused feelings?
A little bit, I guess. Like, yeah, go ahead, do it.
Okay, and then what about with the romantic stuff? Like
girl.
when he's calling her Angel and stuff, where you're like, oh, that's so sweet, or where you're like, ugh.
Both.
Oh.
Like, I could tell he was being pretty genuine, because the book's third person, thankfully, so we could kind of know what he's like thinking and feeling. Yeah. But it is some cheesy lines in there.
What about the horror, where you're like, oh my god, or were you like, ugh?
No. The horror is good. There was like giant snakes, manifestive of voices that became evil. Even just the games themselves. There's like a hellhound in like the first one, and then there's like a cool, like these pillars that crush people.
That was cool.
Yeah.
That was cool.
That one's like a movie in itself, like as a Saw game.
I actually would like, if they made a TV show of this, I'd be down for it, just because the trials are intense. We'd only told you a little bit about them, and definitely like, I think that's where I like it more than like Fourth Wing, because like there is genuine like reasons to be scared.
Absolutely.
Like she accidentally enters the haunted place before the game even like
that was scary.
Because she just like got off the street because it's like not safe to walk home at night.
Yeah.
And then, so she kind of got to meet him and the cat and a different
I like
character.
Poe.
Yeah, Poe. But then when she went back, and he was, I don't know, I shipped them. It just kind of needed to go to horny jail after a while because it was too formulaic. Like, it was like, survive a trial. Something creepy happens in the house, but then ghost sex.
And I also love how every time
And
she's
then
like, that
repeat.
was the last time. And then the next
Every
trial,
single time.
let's do it.
It's like, it's Ross and Rachel, we're on a break.
And
And
after
it's
every
like
time,
she
she's
tells him to go away, but then later he tells her to go away. It's like,
and they're like, that was the last time we were ever going to do it. And you're like, you're a fucking liar.
we know they're both lying, and it's just like to create extra drama that I felt was just forced in a sense. But
So how many stars do you give it?
out of what?
5?
5.
You can have half stars.
4.
Yeah.
I give 4.
Nice, nice. So do you recommend it?
Yes. For people who want spooky, sexy books, this is probably the best spooky,
Do
sexy
you think
book
it's
I've read.
kind of like Danny Phantom Erotica?
No.
It is.
I think it's like kind of that because I guess the green eyes and the phantom part.
He's
but
Phantom.
he's more jacked and like sexually attractive like Dante from Devil May Cry. And there's-
Okay, Kayla. Okay, I'm gonna end this by asking Kayla what she thinks. Okay, I'm gonna put this here. Okay, so you want Dante from Devil May Cry, right?
Mhm.
Dante. Okay. So this is Blackwell.
Go more like
Okay.
say sexy.
No, we don't put that in your
They're
circus
gonna.
rate.
If you do that, then you get like dongs.
Yeah, we don't want that. Okay, I can see that one.
Well, anyways, he even gets naked in the games. Like, he doesn't drop a dong, but it shows
Okay,
his ass.
or check this out. I can't put the pictures up here. I was trying to, but
Yeah.
wait, maybe I can.
Wow.
Huh.
Okay,
Okay.
maybe.
Search history. FBI's watching.
Okay, so that's Dante from Devil May Cry.
Just remember, Danny Phantom's underage.
Whatever, Dan. Okay, so what do you think of this?
But also, you know, dressed like the 1920s New Orleans gentleman.
Yeah.
Whatever,
I
guys.
can see that one. That one makes sense to me.
Okay.
That guy's got abs, too.
Alright.
He's
He's
tall.
got like furry boots.
I can't believe you never saw this. He's a phantom.
Is he a phantom?
Sorry, that's the sound. The theme song. It's
Oh,
so
It's
catchy.
like the same art style as,
Look
Fairly
at
Odd
this,
Parents.
dude.
Fairly Odd Parents.
Are you not amazed?
I mean, I feel like
That's Blackwell.
that's Blackwell.
That's Blackwell, obviously. Obviously.
No wonder the book's so hot, right?
Right. He's a phantom. I mean, he even is a phantom. Jeez, like, why do I have to explain this anymore?
I get it. I'm on board.
So, yeah, I think, and you listened to the audiobook. I didn't listen to the audiobook. Was the audiobook good?
Yeah.
I listened to the audiobook.
She did a really good job. with the
I think I'd
voices.
be too bashful during the sexy
It was
scenes.
rough. That's why I had to listen to it on double speed. I was like, I can't. We gotta get.
Wow, you're
through
just like a
this.
wham bam, thank you,
Yes,
ma'am.
let's plow through it. Plow.
And there's other devils, and they have sexy
Kayla,
stuff,
I'm
too.
clutching my pearls. But yeah, there's a lot of other devils.
Like
Yeah,
each-
it's sexy. It's sexy and it's
fine.
spooky.
It's a good time.
It's altogether kooky. If you're, as far as romantasy goes, I've read 2. This is the better one.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
And I would like to see this as a TV show, but I don't know. I don't know if you need to like have like I'm of a different generation. I'm of the whole like fade to black.
Most
Yeah.
books I read that have sex scenes are not sexy, so this is at least
Yeah.
good in comparison
Well,
to
I'm
that.
glad you read it.
Yeah.
That was
I
pretty
am too.
exciting.
Yeah.
Yeah, we appreciate you.
Thank
Alright.
you.
All right,
All
you're
right.
dismissed.
I had to have wine.
Thank you for your
Contribution
Yes,
to
your
the Strange and
contributions.
Unusual Book Club.
yes. We
Is there
appreciate
gonna be
you.
a sequel?
There is a sequel. It's in. So the sequel's Encantra or Enchantra. I don't freaking know. And it's not even about Ophelia. It's about her sister Genevieve.
She's
So,
going off
For
to
me,
Italy.
that makes me like not that interested because it doesn't have the Phantasma competition.
Yeah.
It doesn't have Ophelia. It doesn't have Blackwell. It's like it's a different
Well, they
book.
might appear in it.
It might.
Probably.
It might.
Also, I saw this like cheat sheet that tells you which chapters are the sexy ones, and there are less in Enchantress. I'm just saying, you literally get more bang for your buck in. You get your money's worth.
Oh my god.
What, dude?
I love it. Okay.
Anyway, so do you want to talk about what we're reading next month?
Yes, I do.
You're just like, why are our things taking so long? Don't worry, our next one will not be as long.
No.
So, some things have been going on. Kayla's trying to finish her degree, and it's accounting, and it's really boring, and I don't know why she's doing it, but she's doing it. So she has a lot of homework, and it's all numbers, and we just feel really bad for her. And, you know, so she needs to study. Yeah, you have no booty anymore.
No booty.
It's so sad. Like, rest in peace, your booty.
Go buy booty.
And then I just had a lot of just trials and tribulations. Our house is being sold, so we're going to move again and have a new office again. But the good news is I think we did find a place, and I've also got to find a new job because my current team's been laid off. So it's a lot of things. So we've been just kind of playing around with how many books we want to do a month. So we have decided that we can handle 2 books, at least for the summer. So in fall, we might reevaluate it, or what we might do is just keep it with 2 books, and then every so often we'll have a special subscriber month where you guys pick both the books. Yeah. And we'll just pick like a fantasy and a horror, just 2 different genres between what you guys pick, or have you guys vote on them. Yeah. So that might be what we do. But we have got some good ones for you. So one of the books is picked by moi, and one of the books is picked by ha.
Moi.
Yeah.
There are literally
are there sex
zero
scenes?
sex scenes.
Oh my god, I actually haven't read sexy Hobbit scenes.
I might be into it.
I'm kind of into it already.
Okay, can I tell you? Okay, so
like I kind of ship Frodo and Samwise.
There's a camp of people who are into that, and that's fine. I understand the appeal to it. However,
they loved each other.
They did love each other. As a Tolkien, I don't want to say purist. It's deeper than that for me.
It could get deeper.
It's gross, really. Gross. I love The Hobbit so much. I have this cute little thingy on the cover of my...
Oh my goodness.
It's Smaug burning the city of Dale, because that's what he does. And I also have a Smaug tattoo, because I'm obsessed.
Oh my goodness. I actually never knew that's what that was.
Yes. It's on the cover. I don't have that copy of the book with me. But, so we're going to read The Hobbit because I don't know
Do you recommend that I read the illustrated or non-illustrated version?
Well, I brought the illustrated version with me.
Heck yeah.
So that you can see. Look how beautiful it is.
So, Mummy, I am glad you mentioned that. Actually, both the books we are doing this month are for middle grade, which is like middle school age kids. So, The Hobbit was written for middle school age kids. And the book I'm reading, which I'm going to go grab that really quick.
Yeah,
Tell them about The Hobbit.
Okay, so The Hobbit was written in 1950
37. No freaking way. Oh my gosh, my grandmother was like 6 years old or something.
And it's a classic.
And I haven't read it, which is really funny because every time I tell somebody, hey, next month we're reading The Hobbit, my brother has read it, my mother has read it, my husband has read it, you've read it. But you are going to read it. I want you to enjoy yourself. If I find out you read this on double speed.
Well, number 1, I would never do that to Andy Serkis.
Yes.
But number 2, I've already started. You can see I've already started and I have tabs. Like, I'm doing it right.
Good.
I also read this book last year.
This is like prime rib. You can't double speed this. You'll get indigestion.
Yeah. Oh, you have to. I have a lot.
I have never read this. I actually haven't even seen the movies.
Oh my god.
Oh gosh, she's upset now. I have, in fairness, I have seen all the Peter Jackson Lord of the Rings movies. Even though I really had a pee during Return of the King, I did not pee. I watched the end of that freaking movie.
I'm really proud of you.
I kept going like,
oh.
Oh. I have seen those movies, but I haven't read those books, and I haven't read The Hobbit, and I kind of wanted to read them. So I figured The Hobbit's as good a place as any to start.
It is.
Did it come out before Lord of the Rings?
Yes, it did. It's a perfect place to start. It's short. It's like got a beginning.
It's like 320 pages, dude. It ain't short.
But in comparison to the trilogy, right? Like you're getting a beginning, middle, and end of a story all in one. It's beautiful. It's easy. It gives you like a taste of the world that you can dive deeper into if you really want to. But you don't have to. You can just live here, and it's a great place to be.
It's going to be like comforting and make us not feel sad because we have things going on.
Yeah, it's going to be a comfort read.
Anything else you want to say about the Hobbit?
No, I'm just really excited about it.
Okay, so my book, I have picked Delilah and the Ghastly Grimm, and I have a physical copy of it right here. Actually, I didn't put this off in the books I bought. I bought this. I got this for my birthday. So, this book I'm really, really excited about. I wanted to pick this one because, you know, we've talked about this a lot today. I believe everybody deserves to see themselves represented in fiction, and I think we all deserve to have heroes that we can relate to. And I think that's especially important for children. And what I like about this book is it is based on the person who wrote this. She based it on her granddaughter who has, I hope I'm pronouncing it correctly. I believe it's Devat's syndrome, D-E-V-A-T. And what that is it's a life-threatening seizure condition. So her granddaughter will have these very, very intense seizures. And that's really, really scary. So Delilah, when a seizure opens an indigo door into 12-year-old Delilah's mind, she is catapulted into a mysterious land where danger lurks around every corner. With the help of a wise kangaroo named Viticus and a sassy ladybug named Cernelidid, Delilah must crack codes, battle monsters, and unlock the hidden powers of her disorder to survive. While her body lies unconscious in a hospital bed on Earth, and the fate of Othersphere hangs in the balance, Delilah will need to find a way past her insecurities, or she's going to lose everything. Will she defeat the Ghastly Grimm and his monstrous horde to get back home, or will the darkness prevail? So I like the Ghastly Grimm guy. He kind of gives me Voldemort vibes, but I like this. I also, my very good friend Lee McCoy, who is the host of the channel Drum Dums, this is his wife who wrote this. So it's based on their granddaughter who looks just like the little girl. Like if you follow him on Instagram, you can see her holding it. And that just really warms my heart. Seeing this little girl hold a book and she is in it. But for a lot of other kids who have like this condition and they're like, I have a seizure condition or I have this condition, I could never be the hero of a story, you know. I like that for a lot of kids now that's like, no, you can be the hero of this story, and it's not like a short, like little tiny baby book. It's like Hobbit. It's about 276 pages, but an easy middle grade read. It is available in Kindle Unlimited, so if you have that, you can read it. The paperback, it was less than $10. But yeah, so I'm really excited to read this. I think we need more books like this for kids. And to me, it's giving me like kind of like Harry Potter kind of vibes too, which is another one. You know, I remember like a lot of, you know, books like Harry Potter. He's not the loudest. He's not the, you know, but he's brave and, you know, but he's not like, you know, Percy Jackson, which we love Percy Jackson too. But, you know, Percy Jackson, he's got like the beginnings of the six pack. Yeah. Harry Potter ain't never going to get a six pack. He is never getting a six pack. I think Ginny got a six pack, but he did not.
That's correct.
So I just like that. I like that we have lots of different kind of heroines and stuff, and especially because even today, statistically, we have one female for every 5 male protagonists in fiction, in books and movies. Now, it's great to see, you know, not just your stereotypical strong female characters. I think a lot of people don't understand what that actually means. And so we get things like Captain Marvel, where I'm like, that's not really what we were asking for. We're asking to see women represented as they are. And see them be heroic. And so I think that a little girl who has a seizure condition who gets to be the hero of her own story is really, really cool. I like that there's a kangaroo in it. It just sounds really creative and cool. Really and it's spooky, and that's what we do here. So I'm pretty, you know, Mummy Be Movie mentioned Patrick from Rubbernecker. Yeah. We also had Ophelia, who had OCD in the other one. I like that. I like that we're getting just different kinds of characters. We don't need to have the same ones over and over again. So, and, you know, this isn't a big, like, mass market book. Like, it's a small publication, but you can get it on Amazon. So, if you can, you know, if you have Kindle Unlimited, get it from there. But, guys, this is less than $10. And just to support, you know, Delilah, who is a real little girl. Yeah. I would love for you to pick up a copy of this book and, you know, take a picture of it, send it to us. We'll show them off.
Love it.
So I'm very excited to read this, and
yeah, we're gonna have a nice, easy reading month.
So yeah, probably keep doing that for the rest of the summer. And yes, the kid from Mac and Me was in a wheelchair. Damn, we don't talk about Mac and Me. We don't talk about Mac and Me. So our next book club will be June 26th, right before Mummy B Movie's birthday.
Mommy, happy birthday. In a month.
Yes. So yeah, a lot of you have probably already read The Hobbit, but if not, it's one of those books that I hear is a great reread. So you can reread it along with us. There's only 2 books, and I think you should read both of these.
Yeah.
And I would love for people to read Delilah versus the Grass Seeker with us. And I've seen a lot of early reviews for it. And it looks like it's really good.
Yeah.
It's already got like awards and stuff. So, yes.
Get on board.
Thursday, June 26th, 7 p.m. here on the Strange and Unusual Book Club. I already have it up, so you can hit the notify me button. And yeah, you're good to go.
Be there or be burnt to
And
crisp.
we might even stay with this just because, like, we've been on here for like 4 hours now.
Yeah, we have been on here for a long time.
We had a lot to talk about.
We did.
There was a lot of things to talk about. Maybe
There was.
having just 2 books will make it to where our streams are not quite so long.
I mean, I think for, like, historical purposes, right? Like, if somebody's going down the rabbit hole and they, like, want to know about the books we read, we are giving pretty in-depth reviews here, right? For a live stream, like, we get, like, not everybody can be here for this long, but I
They
think
can go back and read it later.
Yeah, they can.
Or whatever.
We've got
like,
rewatchability.
we have rewatchability.
Yeah, we are giving good information.
You're the most, like, rewatchable
value.
ever.
You are.
Oh my, shut your mouth. You're just too cute for your own good.
I'm sorry, I'm tired. Anyways, read these books with us, please.
And until we meet again,
Blessed be.